Boo, I'm back. She's busy looking for the wire. I love that y'all know me so well. By the time I come on here, you guys know what I'm thinking. Yes, Dodge. That's exactly what I am. I just booked a flight. Hello. Welcome back. Karen Reed. Okay, are you guys digging this? This is like the late night crew. I always say this every live. Don't get your panties in a bunch. This is just like a hangout. We misbehave here. So always, if you're not into that, tune into the content during the day. Strictly true crime. And here we're just going to have fun, drink, true crime it up. Also true crime, but we just misbehave a little on this side of the content. Yeah. Okay, I'm glad you guys dig it and understand me so well. We're covering Karen Reed trial as well. If you missed the live I just had, it was of the 3 little girls that were unalived by their dad, Travis Decker, who's missing still. Make sure you go give that a like and subscribe. We left off on Karen Reed, almost done with day 13, and I think I'm going to get through day 14 tonight. I'm not sure. I only plan to be live for a little bit, for a few hours. And then we'll continue tomorrow, Diddy, and then Karen Reed. And then I have a couple new deep dives for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we'll continue to I need to get caught up. I'm determined to get caught up on Karen Reed this week. So we'll probably do that every day. And then we do Melly After Dark, Fridays and Saturdays, buzzball time. I might have a buzzball tonight. I'm drinking a Modelo, so we'll see. But thanks for being here. And let's get started. Yeah, I'm going to Washington. I'm just kidding. Okay, so when we left off on Karen Reed, Officer Bukaki was on the stand still. Yuri Buchanan is actually his name. I know there's a lot going on in this case right now, but like I said, I'm still not caught up, so don't spill the beans. Modelo with the straw, exactly. You know me so well, Dodge. Modelo with the straw. Okay, let's get started.
All right, Mr. Jackson, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant, you had an opportunity, obviously, you read them, so now you've familiarized yourself with that series of text messages that you received from Brian Higgins, correct?
Yes.
3 Modelos and bang.
Would you, let me ask, I'm going to ask you the same question again. Would you consider those text messages, as you reviewed them when you received them from Brian Higgins, as being flirtatious or romantic in nature?
I would not categorize them to that extent.
We left off on the text messages, Karen Reed and Higgy. They were trying to get Higgy with it. Yuck. But anyways, we did see those on the last live, so that's kind of where we left off.
Certain parts of it might be, but the total conversation, if you want my opinion, I can provide you with it.
Was there some flirtation in the text messages that you noted?
There are terms that I used. You're hot, witty, stuff like that. You know, talking about banging and hooking up.
What word would you use to describe them if not flirtatious?
The totality of the conversation?
Sure. Let's start there.
My opinion is that it's a angry girlfriend trying to set up a hookup to her John.
To her jump?
To her John.
To her John.
Yeah.
Would you consider the responses from Brian Higgins to be flirtatious in nature?
No, he didn't.
There are conversation parts that are enticing, maybe a little of advances, but the totality of, to put a label on the whole thing, my opinion is that she's trying to get revenge.
Get revenge?
Not the scorned Karen Reed.
On John?
Yeah.
For what happened on New Year's Eve?
Yes.
Okay. When you say revenge, you don't mean physical revenge.
Well, emotional revenge. She's trying to hook up with Higgins and then hurt John by cheating on him.
And in fact, you did note that John O'Keefe was not privy to these text messages, right? Objection.
I'll allow that. Do you know that?
I do not, Your Honor, no.
He's not on these texts, is he?
I don't know if their accounts are synced at this point. I don't know if he's seen them. I don't know.
He's not.
Wow.
His phone number. You guys got his phone,
Hi, Mom.
correct?
We do have his device, yes.
Do you have any evidence that his account was somehow, I don't even know if that means synced with Karen Reed's account?
Not from his device, no, but he could have seen the text messages.
Okay, so there's no evidence that he was synced. His account was synced with anything, correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
There's no evidence.
You were facing the other way. I didn't hear.
There's no evidence that his account was synced with anything.
Not his device that we have, no.
And you don't have, as you sit here, you don't have any evidence whatsoever that he saw any of these text messages, correct?
We don't have that, but I do not know.
Okay. So as you sit here, my question is very simple. Do you have evidence, affirmative evidence, that John O'Keefe ever saw these text messages?
I do not have evidence that he saw them, no.
So would you agree that the text messages show a romantic interest, for whatever motivation, a romantic interest from Brian Higgins toward Ms. Reed?
You have to ask that differently.
In your mind, as you read the text messages, did you determine in your head that there was a romantic interest by Brian Higgins toward Karen Reed?
Welcome back.
In my mind, I saw the text messages for what they were, initiated by Karen Reed, and began a text message conversation with Brian Higgins.
And Brian Higgins was responsive to those text messages, correct?
They did communicate back and forth.
He was responsive to the overtures that Ms. Reed made toward him, correct? Suggestions. Let's get together for a drink, come over to my house, I'll come over to your house, things of that nature. Those went back and forth between the two, correct?
Yes, they went back and forth. Yes.
And did you determine that there was an interest by Brian Higgins in Karen Reed?
I read that he repeatedly asked her what's her plan, what's her goal, what's her interest, what's her intent.
Did that show you an interest on his part in her?
I think at one point he said he was confused, I believe,
My
if I'm not
blood
mistaken,
boiled.
or what's the term he used? He was unsure what she wanted.
He called her hot.
He did, yes.
Called her witty.
Right from the rip, yes.
He said he wanted to spend time with her.
Spend time, yes, yeah.
He was interested in going over to her house.
Yes,
He was interested in her possibly coming over to his house.
yes,
He told her that he thought she was hot, his words, from the jump, correct?
from the jump, yep.
Look at that. How do you interpret that?
From the jump, I would interpret it as right from the beginning, maybe the first time they saw each other, laid eyes on each other. I mean,
As a matter of fact, he basically said that, didn't he? In the
No.
text message, from the first time I saw you, I thought you were hot.
yes.
He constantly was using phrases, to use your words, phrases interested in knowing how she felt about it.
Jules.
Sustained you. To ask it differently, Mr. Jones.
Did you interpret any of his text messages as Brian Higgins being interested in knowing how she felt, what she was thinking about him?
Objection.
Ask it again.
That's funny, Jules.
When you first saw these text messages and you reviewed them, did you interpret those text messages in your mind? That's what I'm interested in your mind. As Brian
what did you
Higgins
think?
being interested
Okay.
in knowing how Karen Reed felt about him.
I believe his statement indicates that he was interested in seeing what her interest was, what her intention were, and questioning the fact that she's dating live-in boyfriend with his buddy.
The shade. He's like, why is she
He used the
homie
word
hopping?
ghost several times, correct?
I won't lie. I mean,
I do recall reading the
kept it
word
in the
ghost.
friend group.
How did you interpret that word?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I interpreted ghost in the common slang terminology is to abandon conversation, stop communicating.
He indicated that 2 different times in the text string, correct?
I know I read the text messages. By reading them out loud to a room full of people, I might not have remembered how many times the term ghost came through.
Fair
I was
enough.
concentrating more on the reading, not on the comprehension
There we
of
go with
each
the
word.
non-remembering.
Fair enough. But you did
Fair
note
enough.
that he used
Fair
that
enough.
term in his text
Shut up.
messages to her, right?
I think I recall at least once that the term ghost was present in the communication.
Did you interpret that? I'm looking for what was in your mind. Did you interpret that, the use of that word by Brian Higgins, as showing some level of frustration at her abandonment of the conversation?
No, I did not. No.
Not at all?
No.
Have you ever heard the phrase, "you ghosted me"?
Yes.
How do you interpret that phrase, just in general?
You ghosted me.
I've heard it communicated between other people. I've never used the term ghosted. I think it's a little after my time in communicating
What?
with others, but
He's like, I'm too
I
mature.
take it as you stopped responding to my text.
I'm too mature, but I was participating in text messages that were inappropriate, unethical, while I was working for my county or state job, whatever it is. Right.
Messages.
Do you take that, do you
high school.
interpret that, or did you interpret that as a positive or a negative comment? You ghosted me.
I interpret it as a matter of fact, like you stopped talking to me. I never thought about it in
Right.
a positive or negative
Stop
connotation. I never gave it any thought.
As you sit here now,
it. I just see a stupid.
if you do give it thought, would you put a positive or a negative connotation on the phrase, "you ghosted me"?
Objection.
Sustained.
You're aware that, based on the text messages that we just saw, there was a series of text messages that went back and forth starting in mid-January and basically ending around January 23rd, correct?
This chain of text messages began in January 12th and ended January 29th.
Right. I'm going to get to the 29th. But the back and forth ended on January 23rd, did it not?
I don't recall as specifically. I can leaf through it and tell you what it is. I know I read the dates out loud, and again, I was concentrating on reading.
Do you have the document in front of you?
I do.
Could you turn to the last page?
Yes, sir.
I believe it's the last page. It may be the second to the last page or something.
I love when Alan Jackson gets on him. He's like, well, look on the last page. Duh. Like, where did it end?
Do you see an entry on January 23rd, 2022, a text message from Brian Higgins, "Thought you were all set"?
Yes.
Oh.
And Ms. Reed responded with "talking?" Question mark. No. Period. Correct?
That is her response.
Mr. Higgins then responds, with 4 M's behind the H. Correct?
That's correct.
And then he responds again. By the way, did Ms. Reed respond to the
No, she did not.
And then he follows up with, "You sure?" with no punctuation. Correct?
That's correct.
Did Ms. Reed respond to "you're sure"?
She did not.
The next text is on January 29th at 11:32 p.m., correct? I'm sorry, January 28th at 11:32 p.m. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Is that from Ms. Reed or from Mr. Higgins?
At 11:32 p.m. on Friday, January 28th, it is from Mr. Higgins.
That's all I ask.
Higgins is so
And
hot.
now,
He's like,
can you tell the jurors what that text is?
not.
And then the next text immediately
No.
after.
Well,
So between January 23rd and January 28th, would you describe Ms. Reed's side of the conversation as having ghosted Mr. Higgins?
no, she initiates the conversation. You had me read the second text message in the chain.
Between January January 23rd, when that last text message was sent by Brian Higgins, until January 28th at 11:32, would you describe that as Ms. Reed having ghosted Mr. Higgins for those 5 days?
Strictly looking at the text message communications and not knowing whether they...
I'm not asking you to speculate. I know there's other stuff. I'm asking you just to read what.
Yo.
Just to answer
Is there going to be a
the question
fight in the courtroom?
Based on the text that are in front of you, Sergeant Lieutenant, does it appear that Ms. Reed ghosted, as you define the term, Mr. Higgins, from January 23rd until January 28th?
One could read into that in that manner, yeah.
And then on January 28th, Sergeant Lieutenant, when Brian
Ah,
Higgins sends,
Sergeant.
well, did Ms. Reed respond?
No, she did not. They were together at the same location.
Did she respond to the text?
On that day?
Correct.
Not on a text message, no.
You said they were together. That means that Brian Higgins was together in the same room with Ms. Reed when he sent his text, correct?
Yes.
And she ignored it, didn't she?
Sustained.
He ghosted him.
You also received from Mr. Higgins certain text messages between him, Mr. Higgins, and John O'Keefe himself, correct?
Yes, we did.
And one of those text messages, one of the last text messages that they exchanged was, as a matter of fact, the last text message that was exchanged was Brian Higgins at 12:20 a.m. on January 29th, 2022, texting Mr. O'Keefe, "You coming here?" with 3 question marks, correct?
I would have to take a look at the document. I don't have a memory of it specifically. I know I reviewed it, but I don't have a memory of the time and content.
I'm not impressed by this man at all.
Yes.
Too cocky.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. No worries.
I'm dying. You guys are funny. Chill out. Chat. Are you guys misbehaving? Who wants a spanking? And me. So Patty. Why do they never remember anything? Even Macabre was like, I need to look back in the reports. I'm like, you don't remember anything because you're always lying.
Based on this extraction, I cannot definitively say that this text
Well,
message
don't,
was
Wait.
sent on January 29th because of the file source time and and the JPEG being so small. I can't testify to that, sir.
May I approach you?
Yes.
Oh, for YouTube purposes, I don't condone violence. Allegedly.
No, Mr. Brennan has kindly offered to stipulate that the "you coming here" text was sent. I would offer the following stipulation: that "you coming here" text was sent on January 29th at 12:20 a.m. from Brian Higgins to John O'Keefe's phone. Quote, "You coming here?" 3 question marks following it.
What was the time?
I'm good. 12:20 a.m. May we enter that stipulation with the court's permission?
Sure. So,
True.
jurors, you've heard that the lawyers agree that that fact is true.
Thank you.
Every time I hear Bev.
Thank you, Sergeant. So you were aware of the timeline on or about January 29th when, first of all, Karen Reed had not responded to a text message from January 23rd throughout January 28th and into January 29th. Sorry, throughout January 28th by 11:32 p.m. or so. She just not responded. Correct?
So the text message that she sent to Brian Higgins,
Yes.
the last time she sent a text message was on the 23rd.
Right. And he responded with several text messages to which she did not respond on January 23rd. Correct?
I believe she sent 2 and he said 3, I believe.
So the answer is yes. There was a text message that he sent to which she did not respond. Is that right? On the 23rd.
He was the last one to send a text message on the 23rd.
That was following multiple text messages back and forth between the two of them, spanning a couple of weeks. Correct?
Hello, my love.
Yes.
Then,
Hello,
on
Abuelita.
January 28th, 2022, Brian Higgins is at the Waterfall Bar and Grill after 11:30 p.m. Correct?
He was.
Karen Reed then walks into that same Waterfall Bar and Grill, accompanied by her boyfriend, John O'Keefe. Correct?
They did.
Brian Higgins then texted Karen Reed, who's standing in the room. Well, correct?
Correct.
Karen Reed ignored that text. Correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Karen Reed did not respond to that text.
There's no text.
Yep.
Brian Higgins then.
Brian Higgins was bitter and pissed Karen didn't want him.
John directly,
And he got played.
"You coming here?" with 3 question marks.
He was angry.
Correct?
Correct. It's been stipulated.
Scorned
That's an
police
accurate timeline
officer
of the events that we've just talked about.
who perhaps wanted to jump John. I don't know. Allegedly. Maybe just my
Correct.
opinion.
Yes, sir.
You're also aware of a call. Your investigation revealed a call between Brian Higgins and Brian Albert at 2:22 a.m. on the 29th, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did your investigation reveal a call between between Brian Higgins and Brian Albert at 2:22 a.m.? Objection.
Sustained.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Okay.
Bye. Oh, and then the fan.
To secure.
Oh, I like Alan in that tie.
Sergeant Buchanan, did you become aware during the course of your investigation, then I'll narrow the time frame, during the course of your investigation that there were calls between Brian Higgins and Brian Albert at approximately 2:22 a.m. on the 29th?
During the course of my investigation, I was not aware of that. If you have a document that I can see, I can tell you if I've ever seen it before.
Did you seek to secure Brian Albert's cell phone to determine what calls he did and didn't make on
No.
January 29th or January 28th?
No, we did not.
Okay. Would, in your experience,
Alan
would a phone
Jackson's really
extraction, a cell phone extraction of Brian Albert's phone have revealed calls made and received in the time frame that we're talking about, the 28th and the 29th of January 2022?
If a phone is extracted, the records of phone calls being made and received would show those records.
You did receive information from Brian Higgins' phone, specifically the texts that he claimed he pulled off of his phone and gave to you, correct?
We received the text messages that I read today that Brian Higgins provided from his phone.
Did you seek to secure his actual phone for a forensic download or a forensic mirror image to get the actual calls made and received or text messages made and received from his phone?
No, we did not.
Karen, Cam.
At some point,
I love watching them in the courtroom.
this is just yes or no, at some point, did you become aware of a call between
Here's
Brian
my other
Higgins and
boyfriend,
Brian
Yannetti.
Albert at 2:22 a.m. on the morning of the 29th? Just yes or no?
No.
As you sit here
Look at
today,
Karen's face.
this is new information to you. Let me rephrase that. This is unknown information to you. You do not have any information about that?
Objection.
Sustain. You need a time frame, Mr. Jackson.
I realize that, Judge. That's why I'm asking it this way. As you sit here,
Oh my
are
God.
you aware
Oh,
of a phone call between Brian Albert and Brian Higgins
He just gave
at
Bev
2:22 a.m. on January 29th,
attitude.
2022?
But
Right.
you just shared that with me. I have no
I like it.
memory or record of seeing that it actually took place. I do not know.
Okay, so you've never heard that before. That was what I was getting to. You've never heard that before.
No.
Okay.
Bukaki better step down.
You indicated that you did not
You don't want to
seek
make me pissed off.
to secure Brian Albert's phone
Gotta be nice to Alan Jackson.
to do a phone extraction at any time, correct?
We did not try to get Brian Albert's phone for any reason whatsoever.
Did you become aware during the course of your investigation that Brian Albert destroyed his phone?
I'd like to be seen. Objection.
No, jurors disregard that question. Go over to sidebar, please.
Dude, again? Who's there? Who's there? I see John's mom, the same people. I didn't see his brother. Did I miss him? Right.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Thank you. Did you become aware of a call that was made by Brian Higgins at 1:35 a.m. while at Canton Police Department?
I am not aware of that, no.
So you did nothing in terms of investigating any phone call that Brian Higgins did or didn't make while at Canton PD on the night or the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022?
We never sought to get Brian Higgins' phone. He was not looked at as a individual that we would need to get his information
He's like, we didn't need to
for any
search his
reason
phone.
at that point.
Even after you received and read all of those text messages between him and Karen Reed,
Correct.
and even after you became aware of the timeline that we just walked through, starting on January 23rd, going all the way into January 28th and into January 29th. You did nothing to investigate that.
We had the information that we had. We did not need to get his phone.
And the
'Cause he's
information that you had
corrupt.
came from Brian
Like
Higgins
me.
himself, not from a forensic extraction, correct?
The extraction that Brian Higgins provided was a forensics extraction of his communications with Mr. O'Keefe and Karen Reed. We had Mr. O'Keefe's phone and we had Karen Reed's phone, so we can verify and confirm that those text message communications were accurate, unredacted, not deleted, and were true representation of what their communications consisted of.
And that was the
Pass it,
representation
Patty.
made by whom?
Pass it.
The totality of it.
That was a representation made by whom? A person made that representation to you that it was fair and accurate. Who made that representation?
It wasn't a person, it was the extractions between the three devices.
Well, an extraction that you were handed on a device by someone, correct?
No, I said that we had all three devices, and as I told Mr. Higgins in our interview together,
Why are
I
you
said,
stuttering? Because you're
Brian.
lying?
we have those two devices.
Meaning
If you,
John's and Karen's.
correct.
Okay.
If there's anything deleted or altered in any way, we will have proof of it. So please make sure that you understand the magnitude of this situation. We're investigating a homicide. It needs to be accurate, and it was.
And you trusted that coming from Brian Higgins rather than simply getting an extraction from his phone. Correct? Yes.
I trusted him, yes, because we trust and verify. And after verifying, the extractions were correct.
And following that
That's-
verification of the text messages, did that raise any suspicion in your mind about any possible motives Brian Higgins may have relative to John O'Keefe?
Suspicions of motives? Is that your question?
Correct.
No, the evidence spoke for itself. The honesty, cooperation of all the witnesses and corroborating, supporting facts spoke for themselves. So I was not suspicious of his motives. The conversation was documented over text message. Spoke for itself.
Supporting documentation, including a text message, the text message at 2:20 a.m., just minutes before John O'Keefe arrived at 34 Fairview from Brian Higgins, right? 12:20 a.m. That's one of the factors, correct?
That's one of the factors that is part of the entire investigation, yes.
One of the other factors is that John O'Keefe's body was found in the lawn at 34 Fairview, just feet from the front door, the side door, and the garage door. Correct?
That is when Mr. O'Keefe was found on the left side of the lawn, yes.
Oh, wow.
And one of the factors was you originally said that it appeared that it may be an incident involving a cocktail glass to the face. Initially, please.
Based on verbal reports, initially, that was a possibility. Again, it was before we spoke
I can't
to...
stand this guy. I'm sorry, I
A lot
can't.
of other things happened, but initially.
My opinion, my feeling, I can't
Yes,
stand him.
initially, it was a possibility.
And when you saw John O'Keefe at the hospital,
I can't.
a big contusion above his right eye, correct?
That is not correct.
He had a big egg just above his right eye.
That is not correct.
You did not see that?
His eyelids were swollen, not above his eye.
Yeah, why
There
was
wasn't a
his
contusion.
eyelids
Two
swollen?
different paramedics said that they saw what they described as an egg above his right eye. Well, let me ask you differently. Did you speak to any of the paramedics?
Yes.
R.I.P.
Did they
Officer
describe
John
an egg
O'Keefe.
above his right eye?
R.I.P.
I'd have to see a report to actually be described as an egg above his right eye.
Did you notice a laceration at his right eye?
His right eyelid did have a tiny, tiny laceration.
Did you see a small laceration at his nostril on his nose?
A tiny, tiny laceration, yes.
You noted that he didn't have any broken bones or fractures other than to his skull?
I did not know that. I didn't conduct x-rays or conduct the autopsy. I'm not a medical professional.
You didn't ask the doctors at the time you went and visited him and saw him in the hospital whether or not he had broken bones or fractures?
I don't believe they reported that.
And another factor that you considered was the fact that in the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022, around 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., there were no taillight pieces found at that location? Zero? Did you consider that?
At what point?
On January 29th, in say 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Consider that?
Once we learned that there was damage to the defendant's right rear taillight, I could only consider at that point because I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
We don't know, we don't know. We work with the evidence that's presented and we develop the investigation.
And the evidence that was presented at that time, Sergeant, was a leaf blower was used to search the area, the exact area that you described for this jury as being the area around fire hydrant, flashbang,
Objection, says Patty.
No
Objection.
was found
Objection.
at all in the first searches. You're aware of that, yes or no?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, you're also aware that no taillight material was found until after that SUV was in Massachusetts State Police custody and sitting at the Sally Port in Kent. Correct?
I believe the first taillight piece was found after it was in our custody. I don't know the exact time. I'd have to see it.
When you talked to Brian Higgins, did you ask Brian Higgins about potentially seeing John's body when he left 34 Fairview and headed over to Canton PD?
Yes, I did.
You knew that at that time, say 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning, there was about 0.2 of an inch of dusting of snow, correct? Very light.
At that point in time, there was a coating. I cannot speak to the amount of snow that was on the ground.
But Brian Higgins told you in that interview that he didn't see the body because it was hidden by a snowbank.
Objection.
Did he say that to you?
I don't have a memory of that, Your Honor.
May I approach you, Honor?
Yes.
I'm so over Bukaki. I think he's done soon.
Take a look at page 3 of the highlighted portion.
I'm not impressed with his lies. He literally doesn't remember anything. How could they not remember one of the details of one of the most brutal nights of one of their friends / coworkers? Like they don't remember anything from that night regarding the accident. Not accident. Murder.
Does that refresh your recollection that Brian Higgins said something about a snowbank at the time when he left 34
I'm
First?
sure they remember.
He stated the reason he did not pay attention to the grass is he was concerned with his snowplow on his vehicle and was not paying attention to anything over the snowbank, just with the plow in front of him as he operated the vehicle.
And of course, you knew at the time, as a detective and an investigator, you knew at the time that with a dusting of snow, there is no snowbank. Right.
He mentioned plowing the driveway for the Alberts when he arrived, so there might have been coating and he was just plowing it and then creating a line. I cannot speak to how much snow was actually being plowed with the dusting that was on the ground. So there might have been a small snowbank. Again, he was referencing it. He was not paying attention to anything behind the snowbank, so behind it.
Snowbank being in the yard. Actually, he said the lawn.
Yeah, he's,
Sorry. He talked about the snowbank being in the lawn, not the driveway, correct? That's how he described it.
he said he was not paying attention anything past the snowbank being the lawn.
And did not pay too much attention to the lawn area behind the snowbank, correct?
Right, off to that area, right.
Did that raise any suspicions in your mind
Yeah, did it raise any suspicions?
Brian Higgins may have been being less than truthful with you?
No.
What?
Getting back to the Waterfall Bar and Grill, you were also aware that Brian Albert was at the waterfall, correct?
At one point, yes, we learned that.
And you knew that Brian Albert and Brian Higgins were friends with each other. Is that right?
We learned that as well, yes.
You've already indicated that you did not seek Brian Higgins' phone records. I may have asked you this, and if I did, I apologize. Did you seek Brian Albert's phone records or an extraction from his phone?
They were selective
No, we didn't.
about who they searched through. Dude, they didn't even go into Brian Albert's house that night. Imagine if there's a
Did
crime
you
at your
look
house
at
and
the
they don't go, the
entirety of the
police don't
waterfall
go in.
video?
Yeah,
Did you
right.
review the entirety of the waterfall video
Yeah.
when you
Right.
first obtained it? Or have you looked at it since?
I have at one point or another viewed the entire video, yes.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, this has already been marked as evidence, but I cannot read it. It's not my notes. Exhibit 22, I'm told.
Okay.
May we exhibit that for the, or present that for the jurors?
Yes.
And I'm asked to advance this to runtime 8:30 to about 11:08, so a couple of minutes with the court's permission.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and play that. Can we pause it briefly, Mr. Wolk?
Yes.
Hi, Christine. Welcome back.
Thank you,
Karen
sir.
Reed.
Can you please, if you can, point for the jurors whether or not you see Brian Higgins in that video?
I'll use the screen in front of me for initial indication. I believe that that is Brian Higgins right there.
Can you do me a favor, just so everybody has a perspective? Can you also point to him there? Okay.
There you go, right there. I believe that is Brian Higgins.
Okay. Do you see Brian Albert in that video?
I can't tell you exactly.
Oh, brother. I can see it.
Maybe if you run it a little bit longer, or zoom it in, I could possibly tell you, but from right here, right now, I cannot.
Sergeant, why don't we play this for a couple of seconds? And if you don't mind, if you get to a point where you recognize the person that you know as Brian Albert, could you just tell me to stop and I'll pause it?
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and play it with the court's permission.
Sure.
Can you pause it? Go ahead, Sergeant.
Brian Albert is the individual right there.
I forget this part.
Right
Oh my
there.
God.
Can you describe what Brian Albert and, by the way, for the record, Your Honor, the witnesses indicated the person toward the left, right under the 2-9 on the chyron on top, the 29?
Yes.
Can you describe what you see the two individuals, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins, doing in this scene?
It looks like they are facing each other, possibly
Are they play
squaring
fighting?
off in the stance.
Can we go ahead and play this forward, please?
Think again. Kidding. No.
Can we pause it? Sergeant, did you see either of the two men or both of them
I'm sure.
squaring off in what you would consider to be a fighting stance?
Wearing off. I like that word.
I guess it could be considered that. I would look more like rough housing.
Right.
It's a couple of buddies messing around.
Not suggesting they were actually fighting, but a fighting stance.
Yeah, no, they were not. They were not fighting. No.
Go ahead and play it.
Grab ass. That's right. What are they doing? I don't think that was play fighting, y'all. I don't think they were joking there or anything. I think that was for real. I think they were talking shit to each other and they were like, you know, see some help. You see some help. What do you mean? Are you trying to talk shit? But I have to say, it looks like two guys. Wait, you do think it's two guys goofing off, Smog Dog? I don't think so. A part of me thought that at the beginning, but as I'm rewatching it, I'm like, maybe not. Then they can't fight.
Can you pause it? Sergeant, do you happen to see in this shot, just for orientation, do you see my client, Ms. Reed?
I'm sorry, I was paying attention to the two gentlemen.
That's fair. That's kind of an unfair question. Could you, if we play this a few more seconds, could you look around, scan around, and tell me if you see someone that you believe is my client?
Yes, I will try.
Let's go ahead and play. Go ahead and pause it. Do you see anybody that looks like Ms. Reed?
Yes, I believe she's in top left, top right corner of the frame talking to Mr. O'Keefe and I believe two other gentlemen.
Long hair?
On your client?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play this up to 11:08, please. Is that up to 11:08?
Brian Higgins.
Thank you. We can
Not impressed.
take that one down briefly. This is, if we have the lights, thank you. Sergeant, this is at the waterfall just before midnight on January 29th, 2022,
I need a refill.
correct?
Someone can give me
What
a
you saw.
refill.
That footage is from the waterfall just before midnight on 28th.
I'm sorry, my mistake. On the January 28th, 2022.
Correct.
Going into midnight, January 29th, 2022.
Yes, sir.
All right. This would be just minutes before everyone headed out of the waterfall and went back toward Fairview, correct?
Not everyone. The band didn't go to the Fairview.
Well, obviously, I'm not talking about the band or the bartenders. I'm talking about Brian Albert, Brian Higgins, Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, John O'Keefe, Karen Reed, those folks,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, you.
It's before some of those individuals left the bar and headed to 34 Fairview.
If we could push to runtime 16:35, 17:22, while you're queuing that up, did you see, after I asked you the initial time about the stance that the two men were taking, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins, did you see them continue to take what could be reasonably described as fighting stance toward each other, even in jest?
That'd be awesome.
They were squaring off and roughhousing, yeah.
Okay, what is
Oh,
squaring off mean?
roughhousing. Roughhousing.
Facing an opponent in like wrestling or a martial art, I guess.
Hands up?
You mean
Yes,
fighting?
squaring off, yeah.
Just freaking say it. Oh my god, I can't handle it. If I was there in the courtroom, I would have probably already been arrested and bailed out. No lie.
You are former
I
military
don't know. I might catch a charge for Karen Reed.
Yes.
and current law enforcement.
Maybe
Yes.
Alan
Is
Jackson.
hand-to-hand fighting taught in both military and paramilitary organizations like law enforcement?
I had hand-to-hand combat training in the Marine Corps. I had defensive tactics in law enforcement capacity in the Marine.
I feel like he's getting at you can't be fighting when you have professional fighting skills. Like if you're trained in MMA or jiu-jitsu and you go beat someone up, they can use that against you. And I know that because I have a friend who's an MMA and he, like, when people would try to fight him in high school, he wouldn't fight because he didn't want to like lose the opportunity to continue to be able to fight. Is that why he's asking him all of this?
Marine Corps, federal, local, and state academies.
Are you aware that Brian Albert is former military?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I
I'll
am
allow
aware
it.
that Brian Albert is former military.
And Brian Albert was also a Boston police officer.
I am aware of that as well, yes.
Are you aware that Brian Higgins was former military and a combat veteran?
Now I am, yes.
And are you aware that Brian Higgins, at the time this was taken, this video was taken, was also a federal law enforcement agent?
I was aware, yes, I was,
Okay.
yeah.
If we can go ahead and run at 16:35 to 17:22 with the court's permission.
Okay.
They are trained deadly weapons. Even in boxing, your hands are registered. Right, Smong? Good night, Rich. Thank you for being
If you
here.
can pause it. Can you describe for the jurors what you see Brian Albert and Brian Higgins doing in this
Whoa.
footage?
Based on my understanding, it looks like he's giving him the Heimlich maneuver, or
What?
abdominal thrust, I guess. I don't know what he's doing.
For us.
Brian Albert's got his hands around Brian Higgins, correct?
That's what it looks like from here. I have no idea what he's doing.
Could it be described as wrestling or grappling?
I guess, yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it.
Whoa. Now they're hugging.
Thank you. If we can take that down. During the course of reviewing this video, or the entirety of the video, not just the clips that you just reviewed, did you see where John O'Keefe was, generally speaking, relative to Brian Higgins and Brian Albert?
Throughout the entire time?
He wasn't standing still, I understand that, but generally, was he standing with them, or was he closer to the bar in the back of the video?
I believe after Mr. O'Keefe arrived and embraced a few people with hugs, I guess if I had to estimate, most of the time he was on the other side of the table, which would be closest to the bar area.
And after you saw Mr. O'Keefe walk in and greet everybody with salutations, did you ever see him interacting with Brian Higgins and Brian Albert throughout the evening again? On this video?
On this video, I did not know.
Okay, I'm getting it a refill.
One more.
Hit the like button while I get her.
Time 1915 to 1957. About 45 or 50 seconds. Can you pause it? Just to orient the jurors, can you see any individuals that you earlier described, Brian Higgins, Brian Albert, John O'Keefe, Karen Reed, any of those individuals in this clip as yet? Or do we need to play it a little further?
I would need you to play it a little bit further, please.
Is it possible, with the court's permission, to zoom in on the upper portion of the video?
Okay.
If you could center that just a little bit toward the right. Other way. There we go. Thank you. And if we could go ahead and play that from 1915 to about 1957.
Hey, Jenna Gypsy.
Pause it.
Hello. Good to see
Do you
you.
recognize the three people center screen now?
I really can't make it out. I would have to be assuming,
I don't want you to assume.
guessing. I can't make it out
Okay, let's
to
play.
identify each individual.
Assuming, guessing, really,
we
on the
can.
trial? Her life is
one
on the
more time.
line. How is that even?
At this point, go
Makes
ahead and
sense.
pause it. At this
Good to
point,
see
can
you,
you make
Jenna.
out any individuals?
Yes,
Okay.
at this point, I can say that looks like Brian Higgins in the middle of the three gentlemen.
What is he wearing?
Oh,
It looks like a hooded sweatshirt.
Okay. And the person to his, sorry, let's do it from your perspective or the juror's perspective. The person to the left of Brian Higgins,
I believe that's Brian Albert.
and the person to the right of Brian Higgins?
To the right from my perspective?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I believe that's Chris Albert, but I'm not positive. I'm
Okay,
not
let's go ahead and
positive.
play it.
you're positive. Liar.
Stop. Did you see Brian Higgins
Liar.
just do something?
I was not paying attention to his gesture. We have to replay that, please.
Does it appear he's
Oh,
looking
my
in a particular
God.
direction?
He is looking in a particular direction based on that frame, yes.
Is that toward the bar area?
It's in that direction. I don't know exactly where he's looking, whether he's looking at the bar, to the right of the bar. I can't tell from this.
Okay, okay. And John O'Keefe, you indicated earlier that John O'Keefe, that's where you saw him most of the video, toward the bar area, to the right of the bar.
If you scroll to push the screen to the right, I can tell you where Mr. O'Keefe is.
With the court's permission.
Yes.
What do we think?
Do you see Mr. O'Keefe?
Not guilty
in
or
that
guilty?
group of people?
After today, I heard
I
maybe
cannot
not.
make him out. Could you play the video? Maybe he is behind an individual.
Let's go back to, if with the court's permission, I'd like to go back to the full video,
Okay.
and let's play it from here.
Okay, a lot of you are saying free Karen. Yeah, I'm sorry. At this point, whether she was responsible or not, the evidence and how they handled it and the fact that it's back to trial too, I think at this point, there's going to be no justice for John O'Keefe regardless. This whole case is a whole media. It's one of the biggest trials. It's just up there with like, I would say like the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. If there would have been a Chris Watts trial, I think it would have been up there. I wouldn't compare exactly to OJ, but I mean, kind of, sort of, in some ways. Same with the Diddy trial. I'm also covering that tomorrow night. Update. It's a she show. See.
Pause it. Could you see what was happening with Brian Higgins?
He was gesturing to someone. I was trying to see Mr. O'Keefe. We were talking about Mr. O'Keefe, so I apologize.
Understood. With the court's permission, could I play the video one more time with it focused on the other side of the bar?
I did sit through the whole Depp trial, and I want to rewatch it, so we might do that.
Focus on, please, so I'm not looking for the wrong person.
Sure.
That was like one of my favorite trials. I love Johnny Depp.
Do you see John O'Keefe there?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can you point to where he is
And like
for the jurors, please, on both televisions?
Mr. O'Keefe is right there wearing the sweatshirt, multi-tone gray sweatshirt with the hood on it and his hat.
And
this
on the other TV?
right there. He's appears to be
We
at the bar.
should do a
paying
million
the
after
bill.
dark and replay
Okay.
it.
With this perspective, could we just go ahead and play that, the 30 or 45 seconds
I have
one more
another
time?
trial I want to play.
But please focus on Mr. O'Keefe.
I want to start it this weekend, but I'm like 3 trials. A lot of coverage. My ex-wife hit me with the car and I wasn't drunk and I'm good. Well, I'm glad you're good, but good point, my God.
Pause it. Do you see where Mr. O'Keefe is looking at this point?
Yes.
Where is he looking? What direction?
Well, from this vantage point, it looks like he's looking to the left on the screen at the individual he appears to be conversing with.
Okay, go ahead and play it. Pause it. And what about now?
Same individual.
Okay.
He's still engaged in conversation.
That was on purpose.
Pause it. And what about now?
He's taking a sip of beer
Right. Which
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea, Smunk.
in the same direction.
I'm sorry, Dodge. Not
Go ahead and play
Smunk. They beat John up.
And go ahead and pause it. We could go back out to the
That's what I
first screen.
think.
At this point, does it appear in the video that Brian Higgins, Brian Albert, Chris Albert have all left the bar?
I think we can agree, right? Maybe, let me know, that John was beat up and then maybe Karen hit him or maybe Karen didn't hit him. At least we can establish that much. I think so. He was beat up. He had like skull fractures, I think. Or was it like orbital fractures? I don't remember. And black eyes. That wasn't from the Lexus. I'm sorry. It wasn't from hypothermia. No way. He got beat up. And then maybe Karen hit him because she was a drunk ass bitch, or maybe not. Maybe it was not her. Or maybe they made it look like her, you know?
There's someone standing.
Yeah, I think
across
John O'Keefe was
the
drunk AF when he got hit. And I think maybe whoever hit him was drunk AF too. And I think if they jumped him, they could have possibly been drunk AF too. The thing is, everyone was drinking that night, but the only person that her blood alcohol was tested was Karen Reed. Why? Because they were cops? It was a crime. They didn't even go into Brian Albert's house. Like, what? That doesn't even make any sense. If someone had died right now outside of my door, you'd think the police would just show up, knock, knock. Hey, Melly. Oh, dead body on the floor. Okay, see you later. Like, no, they would be like, hello, I would have to leave the building. Like, that makes no sense. Makes no sense. Yeah, everyone was drunk. Yeah.
Table from Mr. O'Keefe to his rear. I don't know who that is, so I can't testify to that. The others have left.
Given this perspective, now that we've seen both of them zoomed, do you have an opinion as to whether or not it appears?
And like the whole blood alcohol thing, I've only known because I've been through this. The whole blood alcohol thing, like, oh, she was drunk. They did her blood alcohol like hours later. And then I don't know if they even did it at the time of, they didn't even do it at the time I think the crime happened. So like, I think fuck that. Like if it's hours later, I'm sorry. The way the body digests alcohol too, it's different for everybody and it's different on every level and it's different at every point of intoxication. So I think that was shady in itself as well.
That Mr. Higgins was gesturing toward John O'Keefe just before he left the bar.
Given this perspective, he might.
We don't know
if
Karen admitted hitting him.
We can have the lights up.
Was it I hit him exclamation, or was it did I hit him, was I a drunk hoe, did I hit him? Like, do you know what I mean? And I mean no disrespect to Karen, I'm just joking, but like, you know what I mean?
For a second. Let me ask.
I'm sorry, she was trying to sleep with his friend.
If I could.
She was trying to sleep with Higgy. She was trying to get Higgy with Higgy. Period. But nasty.
What we've just seen.
I'm just saying.
Was
Melly's opinion. Melly's opinion. My opinion.
Leaving Waterfall to go to a different location. What was the location they were headed to? Based on your investigation.
They were headed to 34 Ferry Road.
Don't get mad at me.
Shortly thereafter, who else followed to go over 34 Fairview?
I'm sorry, you said Chris Albert?
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't, okay.
Nope.
Brian Albert, Brian Higgins, they went to 34 Fairview, and then Mr. O'Keefe also traveled there.
Thank you. I want to shift gears, if I could,
Travel there?
to another video.
You mean
it's a
drunk drove with Karen there? Sure, we've established that.
Specifically,
we established people were
to
drunk, but cops were drunk and they never were held accountable. Why? Because they're the po-po? Because they're the po-po. Oh no, honey. No. It's 2025. They need to be held accountable. Those drunk
One
cops.
Meadows, the outdoor ring video servicing the carport area.
Yes, I have reviewed those videos.
If we could, Your Honor, just a moment. This has previously been marked as 12A. Okay. If we could, with the court's permission, zoom in on the Chevy Traverse in the upper left-hand, the vehicle in the upper left-hand corner of the video.
Okay.
Pause it.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Upper left-hand corner. Okay.
We see her hit this car, John's car. I'm a pro at this. Yep.
Pause.
She hit him.
Did you see?
You want to know how many times I backed into my dad's car? I'm really close to my dad. Yeah. You know, one time I actually fast forwarded into his dryer. Yeah, I was in the garage. And I was like texting or something and I was not paying attention. And I was like, and I thought I was reversing, but I was actually in drive. Yeah. So I had to get my dad a new dryer. Like a clothes dryer. You know, the ones that are really like expensive and shit. So I've also backed up into his truck. I've also backed into the outside of the garage. So I can totally empathize with Karen hitting John's car. Here, the back of it.
Happened with the
Don't judge me.
the left rear tire of the other car in the driveway?
Don't judge me. I'm just a girl in the world.
Which car?
Covering true crime.
The highlighted portion, the parked car, which is the left rear tire that's zoomed in on.
I wasn't paying attention to the tire. Can you play it again, please?
With the court's permission?
Okay.
Let's try that one more time.
Look at the tire move.
Pause it. Okay, you can take that down. Did you see anything happen with that left rear tire of the Chevy Traverse?
Based on that video, it appears there might have been movement there.
Last year, and you've seen this video several times, correct?
I have.
You saw it during the course of your investigation, not just in the course of proceedings, correct?
Right.
Last year, you indicated that you observed the vehicle, Miss Reed's vehicle, come near Mr. O'Keefe's car. Which one in that video was Mr. O'Keefe's car?
The Chevy Traverse.
And that would be the car that was parked and static, not moving, correct?
Correct.
Having seen this, do you still believe that the SUV came near the Chevy Traverse, or do you believe it struck the Chevy Traverse?
With the clarity of that video, there is a lot of movement in the shot. Not with great certainty. It appeared that there was movement of the tire, but I cannot say with 100% certainty there was movement.
You can't say with 100% certainty that that tire literally shifted and wiggled.
Okay, Dodge.
Upon
We'll get one
some sort of
tonight.
impact.
Based on the video, there appeared to have been movement.
Okay. You had this video for the first 3 years of your investigation. You had this video very early on, correct?
That's correct.
And for the first several years of your investigation, did you either deny, well, let me ask it this way, was it your assessment that the SUV did not contact that Chevy Traverse?
My assessment with the totality of it all was that
Oh my God.
based on the video, there was no damage that occurred to either vehicle at that point in time.
That wasn't my question, Sergeant. My question was your assessment that there was no contact between the two vehicles? Is that what you assessed during the course of your investigation?
I did not assess that there was no contact, no.
Even as recently as last year, you testified in another proceeding that the SUV came close to the Chevy Traverse, right?
Yes, I said there's a lot of movement in that shot. It's difficult to tell if there was more for me to
Something
observe
about Bukaki gets under my skin.
and
I don't know what it
push
is.
that certainty level up.
I like
would
the
have testified
arrogance, the voice,
differently.
the face,
As you've seen the video enhanced,
the liar. I don't know. All of the
zoomed
above.
in, do you wish to amend that testimony from last year?
Objection.
Ask it differently.
Sure. Given what you've just seen, what is your testimony now about whether or not that SUV struck the Chevy Traverse?
There is movement of the tire. There is movement.
Movement of the tire. Could be an earthquake.
Yeah.
Could be someone standing there pushing the car. I'm asking you, based on what you just saw.
Do you see it's
in
an
this video,
earthquake?
Do you believe that the SUV struck the Chevy Traverse?
Logically speaking, the two vehicles had to have come into contact for the tire to move
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
collided.
Just say yes, you dude.
at a slow speed, yes.
Which area of the SUV collided with the Chevy Traverse? The front, the rear?
It appears from the video it's the right rear area. of the Lexus SUV that comes into contact with the Traverse.
What time was this video taken?
I believe that is
Danny.
at 5:07 a.m., if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Yeah, Danny, there's a lot going on here. So many drunk accidents around the case and cops. Chris Albert killed a man. Barrows was hit by one. Greeno, that's why he had a boot on when he testified. Paulo Keefe and Karen Reed bonded him out. Plus more, I can't recall. Yeah, it goes deep. I'm with you. I agree.
I want to change gears again,
Shady.
and ask you about
Shady.
a dog. You're aware that the
Justice
Alberts,
for Chloe.
Nicole Albert, Brian Albert, had a dog.
That's who I want justice for.
they named
John
Chloe
and Chloe.
on July 20. I'm sorry.
I mean
on
Karen
January
too,
28th, 29th.
more
of
so the dog.
2022, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow the question. Were you aware of that?
At what point in time, sir?
January 28th, 29th, that area.
Was I aware that they owned a dog on January 28th or 29th?
No. Are you aware now that on January 28th or 29th, they owned a dog? There was a dog in the house.
Now I am aware, yes.
Your best Steve
During the
Hunter.
course of your investigation, you learned that, correct?
Yes.
During the course of your investigation, did you also become aware that the Alberts got rid of their family dog?
Objection.
I'm going to see you at sidebar on this, please.
Oh my God. Sidebar, because you talked about something that the media knows all about, because we want justice for Chloe too. And we want to know why the Alberts got rid of their house and their dog right after this accident. That's all. That's all we want to know. No biggie, Bev. Take that stick out your ass, Bev. Really? Right? Like, do you guys agree or no?
I think I forgot where I left off. May I, Your Honor? Thank you. Sergeant, at some point during the course of your investigation, did you learn that the Albert family had gotten rid of the dog named Chloe?
We learned that they no longer cared for the dog. I don't know if get rid of is accurate.
Well, they don't have it anymore, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what would you call it?
Giving it up for adoption, I guess? I don't know. I'm not a pet owner.
Or what if they didn't give it up for adoption?
I'm sorry?
What if they didn't give it up for adoption?
Yeah, it wasn't adoption. Close.
Rehomed, I guess?
Okay. So it's no longer with them, right?
After.
Correct. They no longer
crime.
own the dog.
Okay, so they got rid of it.
Oh my God.
It's like you get rid of a car, right? Right?
Look
You
at
can
him.
get rid of a car, yeah.
Okay. And you get rid of a
Ooh,
dog.
Bucky's so mad. He's
That's all I'm
like,
asking.
Yes, you can
this
get rid of a
fool's
dog, yes.
calling me out.
At some point during the course of your investigation, did you find out that the Albert family got rid of Chloe?
We learned that they no longer owned Chloe, yes.
Okay. When did you learn that?
Yeah, when? Pinche mentiroso.
I cannot tell you exactly. I can tell you
Oh
when
my God, no, he's not.
we looked into it officially.
When did you look into it officially?
I traveled to the dog's home and assisted with identifying the dog and investigating that animal.
Okay.
Oh. Huh.
What documentation did you use
bueno.
to identify that animal?
It was
Hi, Pantera.
veterinary records.
I want to stop you there. Veterinary records from whom? From the Albert family? when they?
I did not get any veterinary records from the Albert family.
The veterinary records that you did get were veterinary records that had been utilized with the Albert name? Where were these veterinary records?
The veterinary records were with the vet that's caring for the dog and also owns the dog now.
Okay.
And those records also had been dated prior to when the dog was owned by the Alberts.
Okay. So, other than some veterinary records that, and by the way, the dog's not even named Chloe, correct?
Here's tell the difference.
The new owners renamed the dog, yes.
Cora?
That's correct. Yes.
And the new owners did not get that dog
Wait.
from...
They named Chloe Cora? How effed up. Wow.
Brian and Nicole Albert, did they?
Is that what I just heard?
No, they did not.
They got it from a separate person. Is that right?
That is correct.
Separate person named Riley?
That's her last name, yes.
And did this person Riley have any records showing purchase of Chloe or adoption of Chloe from the Alberts?
No.
That's unknown.
You did write a report about the newest owner of this animal, this dog, correct?
I documented my trip to the location and the steps I took and services I provided in the investigation.
And in that report, you omitted the name of the new owner?
I'm not sure.
Good to know,
Did you
Jeremy.
omit the location of where you actually came in contact with this animal?
I didn't even know that.
You're going to have to show me my report. I don't remember.
Yes.
How sad. I don't know, that makes me sad. I don't know why. Like, Chloe. Now what doesn't he remember? He
Okay.
can't remember.
I apologize about that.
No problem.
I'm the one slowing us down just a little bit. May I approach?
Yes.
Did this, reviewing your report, refresh your recollection as to whether or not the new owners...
He can't even
identifying
remember his
information
name,
was in this
buddy.
report?
It did.
He's like, who am I?
And is that information in the report?
No, it is not.
You've got, there are some veterinary records that you supplied along with your report, correct?
Yes.
That you gathered?
I'm sorry, what was
That you
it?
gathered along while you were doing...
Yes, yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
If you'll take a look at those 4 documents. Do those appear to be the veterinary records that you gathered related to this animal?
Yeah, he is. Jules. Wakala. Oh, wow.
Yes, it does. Do any of
left
those
off
records,
the
any
name
of
of
the
the address so
veterinary
the defense
records,
wouldn't
the
have
4
access
pages
to
that
the
you're
dog.
holding, even include the name Cora or the name of the new owner?
Wow. He's so embarrassed. I can feel it. I think he's acting dumb right now. Oh my gosh. Can you say cover up?
I browsed through it, and no, it does not appear that Cora or the new owner are included in any of these 4 pages.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. This is
You don't have any
ridiculous.
transfer records for Chloe, correct?
All the records that are provided by the owner.
I'm going to go through a series of questions, Sergeant. If you can answer it yes or no, that might make it go a little faster. You don't have any transfer records,
He's like,
correct?
shut the F up and just say yes or no.
I wouldn't know what it looks like. That's why it's even quicker me telling you that that's all the records that I have.
Okay. I want to answer my question. You
Okay.
don't have any transfer records.
I don't know what a transfer record would look like, so
the
I
answer
can't.
is no.
I don't know.
Okay. You don't have any rehoming records.
I don't know.
You don't have any purchase records.
I don't know.
The only records you do have are those 4 pages of veterinary records that don't have the name Cora and don't have the new owner's name. Correct?
That's correct.
You would agree, shifting gears for a second, that timely report writing obviously is an important aspect of any investigation, correct?
It is important, but we can only write reports as feasibly and possibly we're capable of doing. Sometimes investigations are rapid, so you can't write a report. You take notes, and some time goes by before you actually document the information on an official report. The information's there, it's gathered, it's maintained by the investigator, it's shared, it's acted on at times, but the official reports might take some time to write.
So obviously, if you're, like you said, things are fast moving in an
Whatever, but
investigation.
coffee.
It might be that you interview a
What do you-
witness
I don't even
on
know what you just
Tuesday.
said.
You're super busy on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It might be Friday before you can even sit down and draft a report about that interview that you did on Tuesday, correct?
Different circumstances dictate differently.
That would be completely normal.
Yes, it is.
But most of the time, it's best practices and you're taught, and you teach your subordinates.
That's right,
it's best
Bitcoin
practices
boomer.
To reduce to writing and memorialize a report as close in time to the event in question that's being memorialized as you can, right? Obviously, perfect world.
In the perfect world, we'd write it as it's happening.
What? ¿Qué? No entiendo.
Are you aware that more than 20 official police reports in this case were not recorded for more than 100 days from the time that
Doesn't even make
the
any
event in
sense.
question was done?
100 days to
Was
write a
being
police
memorialized?
report?
I did not know the exact date in delay.
Are you aware that there are 11 reports that are more than 300 days from the time of the event that was being memorialized?
I was not aware, no.
Are you aware that there are 3 reports that are more than 400 days from the time of the event that was being memorialized?
I am not aware, no.
Are you aware that there are 4 reports that are more than 500 days from the time of the event that's being memorialized?
I am not aware, no.
Are you aware that the longest delay of any report in this investigation was 581 days?
I am not aware of that, no.
You became aware early on in your investigation of two individuals named Ricky D'Antano and Heather Maxson, correct?
They are witnesses, yes.
Both Ricky D'Antano and Heather Maxson, you learned, were outside 34 Fairview in the early morning hours of January 29th, correct?
We did learn within our investigation at some point, yes.
And you learned, Sergeant, very early on in that investigation because you interviewed Ryan Nagel in February of 2022.
Ryan Nagel.
It's just days after the event, correct?
I'm not sure of the exact date.
Obviously, as you just said, you became aware that Ricky D'Antano and Heather Maxson were witnesses in your homicide investigation, important witnesses, you'd agree, correct?
They were witnesses.
You learned that they arrived at the house at 34 Fairview sometime after Karen Reed and John O'Keefe arrived and pulled up behind their parked SUV, correct?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure, you learned that where they fit into the investigative puzzle is that they pulled up behind Karen Reed's SUV when Karen Reed and John O'Keefe arrived at 34 Fairview. They pulled up sometime after that and pulled up right behind them, correct?
I never knew that police reports you can wait that long, you know? I'm a little shook. Shit. Imagine if every one of us that committed a crime, if they took 100 or whatever days to write a report. How's that even legal? Like, what am I not understanding here? Am I confused? What am I confused about?
That's not correct.
What is not correct about that?
They arrived simultaneously. Karen Reed
And
took a
Tara.
right onto Fairview. They
Alex.
yielded to them.
It takes
and
less than 48 hours to
followed,
impregnate
towards 34 Fairview, stopping
No, it takes less
at
than like
the driveway as Karen Reed
is it
proceeded
40? It's been
further
4
up.
hours.
Did you listen to the testimony in this case up to this point?
No.
There's a sequestration order, correct? Correct?
And will
Yes,
you-
yes.
But you can't listen to the testimony of witnesses, eyewitnesses who are testifying in
That's
front of
bullshit.
these jurors.
Correct. Yes.
You don't know how witnesses have testified from that witness box in front of these jurors, correct?
I have no idea.
Okay. So your information is that they pulled up simultaneously, correct?
Objection.
Is that what you just testified to?
That's my memory from what the the interview produced.
The sergeant is a paleontologist. No.
You certainly knew that they were
Yeesh.
eyewitnesses to the condition and the location of Miss Reed's SUV, correct?
Yes, from their interviews, yes.
And you also are aware that they would have been in a position to see the occupants of Miss Reed's SUV as they were behind it and then pulled around it, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you become aware that they were in a position behind the SUV and as they pull around it, they could still see the SUV?
Objection.
Sustained.
Dude. Correction. Sustained.
You knew what potential role they played in your investigation as eyewitnesses, correct? Generally?
When we interviewed them, when we learned of their existence, when we interviewed them, we collected information based on their recollection.
Okay. My question was, you're aware that they had a certain perspective as it relates to the SUV that night, the early morning hours, right?
Based on their interviews, they had a perspective with the brake light
Right,
being
Danny,
on
2 years later.
constantly.
I'm asking you
Too
what they said.
freaking long.
I'm asking you if
At
during
that
the course of your
point, that should be
investigation, you
legal.
learned that Ricky D'Antano
They need to get it together.
and Heather Maxson
Just get
had a
together.
perspective. They were eyewitnesses to certain things. As
Yes.
relative to the SUV, correct?
Yes.
You instructed your subordinate, Michael Proctor, to interview those witnesses in August of
Cooper
2022,
Proctor.
correct?
I'm not sure when they were interviewed. I don't have a memory of instructing him to go interview them.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
When you take a look at that document and tell me if you, why don't you just tell me if that, whether or not that refreshes your recollection as to communications you had with Michael Proctor specifically.
I swear, if I watch this man read one more freaking time, I'm going to freaking.
Thank you, Sergeant. Does that refresh your recollection as to a conversation, or I'm sorry, a communication that you
Trying
had
to stay
with
calm
Michael
for
Proctor?
purposes.
Unfortunately, it does not. I will take the
So sick of
document
them.
at face value. I
But
do
when
not
you
have
listen.
a memory of
To the liars.
having these communications, but I will take the document if it's authentic and it is true and accurate that it took place. But I do not have a memory of sending these text messages.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Also, my name's misspelled in there. Is that from
We don't care.
extraction, or
I'm
where is
cocky.
that from?
We don't give a
Couldn't tell you.
shit if your name is
Let me-
misspelled.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh my god, I'm gonna get.
I can't take credit for that.
Thank you.
Thanks. If your memory is not refreshed
no.
about that particular communication, do you remember in general?
Not gonna laugh about
communicating
that.
with Michael Proctor about interviewing Ricky D'Antona and Heather Maxson?
I do
Actually,
not know.
nobody
I'm sorry.
cares.
Would that have been something that you would have found
Patty.
important
No, like, shut
relatively
up.
early on in the investigation? Yeah, these are eyewitnesses. Let's get them interviewed.
Yes, it is. It is important to interview anyone that's an eyewitness. Sometimes it takes longer because. Are you listening? I'm sorry.
Thanks.
It takes longer because what?
You asked the question. I just wanted to answer.
I know the answer.
It takes longer because you're busy lying and plotting glass pieces and whatever headlights are made of. What is that? It's the material. It's I'm gonna look it up because it's bugging me. Polycarbonate. That's what it was. Polycarbonate. I need to look that up. It was gonna bug me all night.
Questions? Go ahead.
Okay. So while we want to interview every eyewitness, sometimes an important fact is already detailed and witnessed by another witness. So in this situation, we had already interviewed one of the occupants, the one that was driving, the one that had the observed the events taking place, and we.
And by the way, polycarbonate is strong material. It's particularly known for its outstanding impact resistant. It's much stronger than glass and other plastics like acrylic, and it is often used in applications where safety and durability are critical. It takes longer because sometimes.
Asked him if we were going to talk to the other two, would they have the same recollection, observations?
So
Did they
hitting
leave the
John at
vehicle
that
to go in the
speed,
house at all,
Is it
anything like that,
possible
anything
the
different?
polycarbonate could have
So-
broke like that?
That's
Okay, so it would be important,
Again, from
obviously,
experience.
to interview witnesses in a timely manner.
No,
in some instances.
I've never
yes,
hit someone,
yes.
but
Do you remember when?
I've hit a lot of things
Trooper Proctor
in my
actually
lifetime. Too many to
interviewed
count. I
Ricky
can't even remember.
D'Antona and,
Like,
I'm sorry, when?
I don't even know if my insurance remembers.
Yes, when Michael Proctor interviewed Ricky D'Antona and Heather Maxson.
I do not have a memory of that. No, I'm sure a report would
You need
indicate
a
when.
report to know how to get home tonight. Bukkake.
Yes.
I need them to bring Sheriff Morrison back up here from Washington.
Take a look at that. I thought that was a report from somebody else. It's a report from you, actually. Tell me if that refreshes your recollection as to when Ricky D'Antona was actually interviewed.
Yes, this report, authored by me, was states that on Saturday, September 2nd, he was interviewed.
What year?
2023.
So that would have been a year and a half later, correct?
A year and a half later.
Do you believe that's a timely report, or rather a timely interview for an eyewitness, the gravity of which is described in the report?
A year and a half later.
We again, perfect ideal world scenario, it would be quicker.
So that would be, no excuses, I'm not throwing bars, but that would be untimely, correct? Year and a half later?
We do the best we can.
We do the best we can.
That your memory
oh my God.
That,
stop. Who knows the police department who takes a year and a half to write a police report on a death? I need to Google this like after tonight. I need to look up those statistics if they even exist.
Cars arrived simultaneously. That's a interview with Ricky D'Antona. You see the highlighted portion?
I see.
Ricky D'Antona actually told you that the car was parked. Right?
Not common.
Objection.
The objection sustained.
Your Honor, may we approach briefly?
Yes, can I see
I
that?
doubt that.
please?
Oh yeah, there's his brother. Yawning. That's nice.
We'll start at 10 o'clock on Monday, and we will go a full day Monday. We'll leave every day next week.
Bev. Okay, so that was the end of day 13. We're going to start the next day.
Hopefully paving the way for that to be able to happen. So we do appreciate your patience. I do have to ask you those questions. Were you all able to follow the instructions and refrain from
Right,
discussing this
Christopher,
case with
thank
anyone
you.
since we left here on Friday? Everyone said yes and nodded affirmatively. Were you also able to follow the instruction and refrain from doing any independent research and investigation into it?
Oh my God.
Everyone said yes.
One Meadows, if I
can't
could,
stand-
and ring video evidence.
I'm sorry, I'm just not a fan of that judge. I'm generally not this mean.
One
but
Meadows, if I could, and
I just don't like any of these people in this playing this game.
morning
No
hours.
me gusta. Wait, hold on, I don't want to miss anything.
Paving the way for that to be able to happen. So we do appreciate your patience. I do have to ask you those questions. Were you all able to follow the instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since we left here on Friday? Everyone said yes and nodded affirmatively. Were you also able to follow the instruction and refrain from doing any independent
Yes,
research?
we're going to tell you that we don't know anything about this
Everyone
case,
said yes and
but we're
nodded
big fat liars because it's all over the
Anyone have
freaking
a
internet.
receipt here or
So
read anything
shut
about
up
this
and have a
case since we
buzzball.
left here for the week?
And like chill out,
Everyone said no, we should go.
smoke a joint. I don't
Can we
know,
have
relax
Sergeant
a little
Buchanan
bit, get a
again,
massage.
please? And Mr. Jackson, you can go to the podium.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Austin, report detention right now. All of the above.
Sergeant, I'll remind you, you're under arrest. Thank you.
Good morning. All right, Mr. Jackson,
Thank
whenever
you
you're
for
ready.
Thank you, Your
thinking
Honor.
today.
Good morning, Sergeant.
Good morning.
I'd like to ask you,
We're back with Bukkake, day 14.
just to start off with, at some point during the course of your investigation, did you become aware that a snowplow driver had reported having seen a Ford Edge being moved into
Bukkake, what do you think about the plow driver saying there was no man passed out on the snow?
a location in front of 34 Fairview sometime in the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022?
We learned about a plow truck driver. I don't believe his recollection was as you described, though.
Do you remember him mentioning a Ford Edge?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember him saying that the Ford Edge had been moved? He had passed by, it wasn't there. At some point, he passed by again, and it was there, impeding his plow route.
Yes.
Okay. What is your best
I already need another
memory
refill.
about when he said he believed the Ford Edge?
Bukkake makes me want to drink.
I guess a better way to put it is, when did he say he first saw the Ford Edge in place in front of 34 Fairview?
He looks pissed
I
today.
don't remember exactly. I know it was during the middle of the night. My not adopting your narrative was the fact that he saw it being moved there.
Understood. I figured that. I clocked that as soon as I said it. He didn't see it moved. He saw it. He saw 34 Fairview without it there. Then about an hour later, it was there.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Would about 3:30 in the morning sound right to you in terms of what he reported, in terms of the time that he saw it there?
It sounds right, but I'm not sure of the exact time. My report would
Basically, live in Dakota Estate.
reflect the accurate time.
Fair enough. Let me
Nah, Sane's one of my
see if I
favorites.
can grab that.
You want to know who's not one of my favorites? This guy. Right here. This little guy on the screen. Little chiquito. Pendejito.
Instead of making you sit there and wait, let me just ask this. Do you remember him saying that he had first plowed the area free of the Ford Edge? In other words, first passed in front of 34 Fairview around 2:30 in the morning? Does that sound right?
If you don't
I
know
believe
Spanish,
his
I have no idea what it is,
dispatch
man.
time for the plowing of the roads that evening was 2:30. But again, I would have to look at my report.
That's fine. And then it was sometime subsequent there too that he saw the Ford Edge in place. Maybe an hour later.
Sounds about right. Again,
Okay.
Sounds about
Did
right.
you take any investigative steps when you learned about this snowplow driver to determine who, if anyone, might have owned a Ford Edge associated with 34 Fairview?
I did not know.
Did your investigation ever reveal that the Albert family actually had a Ford Edge at the time?
Yes.
I want to shift gears for a second to One Meadows, if I could, and ring video evidence associated with One Meadows. You testified that on direct examination that there was no video from Ring at or around the time 12:36 a.m. When Miss Reed's SUV returned back to One Meadows. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes.
You did receive a search warrant returned from the Ring Corporation in furtherance of a search warrant executed.
Chloe was rehomed, I believe, in May of 2022. So, what was the exact date? So John was killed on January 29th, and they got rid of the dog on May, if I'm right. Don't come for me if I'm not.
By Trooper Proctor, correct? Former Trooper Proctor.
Evidence was returned
I'm right.
by Ring, yes.
And in addition to
Okay.
the actual video recordings, there was also an activity log that was
Here we go.
returned associated with that time and that location from the Ring Corporation,
You
correct?
guys better hit the like button while I get a drink.
There was a key
Karen's go-
log identifying each video that was provided by the time and date when the video was recorded. It's not an activity log per se for the account. It's strictly a key describing the video, telling you what time the video was recorded.
During the entirety of your investigation, was there any evidence uncovered at all that Ms. Reed had accessed the account information associated with that Ring account?
No evidence could be provided by Ring documenting that activity.
But there is evidence that someone had accessed the account through John O'Keefe's cell phone, correct?
I am not aware of that.
Are you aware that after John O'Keefe's cell phone was recovered by Massachusetts State Police, someone at Massachusetts State Police actually opened the Ring app on his cell phone?
Yes.
Who is the person who opened and accessed the Ring app on John O'Keefe's cell phone?
I'm not 100% sure.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm going to refresh your recollection to take a look at a report, perhaps.
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
If you could take a look at that 3-page report and tell me if that refreshes your recollection.
Hey, big hand. Is he still reading? He can't remember what he did 2.5 seconds ago. He can't remember the lie he told. Right. Yeah, we're used to that. We expect that from him. We expect that.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Sergeant, having looked at this report, does that refresh your recollection as to who may have accessed that Ring app?
Yes, that report is authored by Michael Proctor, and it says that investigators accessed the Ring application.
Thank you. I want to show you one other document, if I could.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've just handed you what purports to be the search warrant return for the Ring, from the Ring company, correct?
I got to take a look through all of it.
Of course. Take your time.
Or don't take your time, because we're sick of waiting for you to read about your lies. What did I do, Hossein? Oh. Dude. Saw a picture. Coming up. With John's arm. I swear I didn't do anything else, babe. I'm a little angel.
Thank you, Sergeant. Have you had an opportunity to review that document?
I have.
Does it indicate that in addition to several other files, there is a login session report that was produced by the Ring Corporation as well? It's highlighted on that page.
Number 4 is highlighted with one Excel file containing login session information.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. And again, just to
Oh my God.
make sure I'm very clear about this, nothing from the Ring Corporation
Oh,
suggested
fuck. I'm so
or
sorry,
intimated that Ms. Reed
politics there.
actually accessed any of that Ring account information, correct?
The information provided did not indicate that, no.
Thank you. I want to ask you a couple of questions about your testimony on direct examination related to your trip to the hospital and your observation specific to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm. You indicated that you saw bruising on his right arm in addition to the abrasions, the parallel abrasions that you described, correct?
I believe bruising is very similar to abrasion.
Okay, that's my,
It's
that's my
not.
question. Can we,
I mean-
with the court's permission, can we show Exhibit 1? It's already been introduced.
It was, I guess, in some way.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of what you saw
I don't know.
in terms of the condition of Mr. O'Keefe's arm while at the hospital, if not exactly like this?
Yes, it is.
Okay. What did you mean when you said you saw bruising on his arm? What were you talking about?
I have to
I
say,
actually indicated
I think they're wrong. I don't know why that was. I think because an abrasion is a scrape and a bruise is literally bruise bleeding underneath the skin. And we have 5 layers of the skin. So I think it's a little different, but sure, I guess we can go similar.
bruising on his right hand, the back of his right hand.
Okay, fair enough. From his wrist, when I say
That's right,
arm,
Christopher.
can we agree, at least for this purpose for the purposes of this discussion, that I mean from the wrist up to the shoulder? Did you see any bruising from the wrist to his shoulder?
I just saw what you guys were saying in the chat. Yeah, you guys agree with me.
I saw exactly what's depicted there with the abrasions and lacerations.
Okay. You know what lividity is, correct?
I do.
Okay. Describe for the jurors what lividity is.
Lividity is the pooling of blood inside the body as a deceased individual falls or is positioned naturally with gravity. Blood begins to settle in the lowest portions of the body. If you're laying face down, it'd be your face. It also contours to the imprint or the force that's exerted on the body from below. If someone's deceased on TV remote control, you can see the remote control, the buttons underneath from the pressure.
So it's a bluish, purplish discoloration of the skin, not from an impact, but from the pooling of blood after the heart stops, correct?
That's correct.
Do you see an area at the upper arm that the skin looks discolored in addition to the abrasions that we see?
I'm sorry, I was looking at that one.
Oh, sure, I'm sorry, yes. Right up toward the upper biceps, triceps area.
I see that area, yes.
Okay, is that consistent with lividity?
Wow. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys.
I would not agree.
Take a good look. Is this the Lexus? Is that the Lexus? Really? Is that the Lexus? All of those pieces of polycarbonate or whatever it was just flew out and sliced him just like this in a pattern as if it were somewhat consistent. There's no freaking way. I mean, okay, tell me right now what you think in the chat. This is a relationship conversation we're having here right now. What did I do? No fucking chance it's a car. Right. Road rash. Nah. That's from a dog. Yeah, no. Look at how deep that is, too. This one over here. That's wild.
Agree with that, no.
You believe that that's a bruise?
I believe that that's a laceration.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about the discoloration of the skin, the reddish purplish hue of the skin, separate and apart from the abrasion, from the abrasions or lacerations to the skin. The discoloration. Do you see that discoloration or no?
I do not know.
You do not?
I do not know.
Okay, we can take that down. As you sit here today, you're not suggesting that you saw bruising from the wrist to the shoulder on John O'Keefe's arm?
Nothing that stood out to me.
Okay.
I observed lacerations and abrasions.
All right, thank you. I want to shift gears one more time and ask you about...
There was no
trip
broken
to
bones.
Dighton.
He just had 2 black eyes. His eye sockets were bleeding and he had fractures in his skull. Not from the Lexus, unless the Lexus hit him and there was a full-blown collision. I'm sorry, 10 miles per hour, whatever it was. No.
And the seizure of the
No,
SUV.
no.
You testified that you seized the SUV somewhere, I think your testimony on direct examination was somewhere around 4:15, 4:17, something like that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Does 4:12 sound like it could be a reasonable time that SUV was actually seized in Massachusetts State Police custody?
It could be reasonable. I'd have to refer to the video evidence that, and then also the exact time that we advised the defendant that we are going to be seizing it. I guess it could be argued that that's when it was seized. Even we had the intent to seize it right there.
Right. Took the key fob, went outside, had a, had a tow truck driver actually put it onto the back of a flatbed. Ultimately, it was transported, correct?
Correct.
And you became aware at some point that there was video evidence, you just referenced it, video evidence of that, I'm going to call it seizure process. Is that right?
Yes.
And that video evidence had a timestamp on it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You're also aware, as the supervisor of Michael Proctor, that he swore under oath in multiple affidavits in support of search warrants that the SUV was seized at 5:30 p.m., correct?
Yes.
And you knew at the time, because you were actually there, and you knew when the vehicle was seized, that stating under oath in an affidavit that it was 5:30 p.m. and not 4:12 p.m., that was a false statement, correct?
There's a discrepancy in time there, yes.
Did you take any action, you yourself as a supervisor, did you take any action to correct that false or misleading state? Let me ask it a different way. Did you take any action to correct that time to the accurate time of 4:12 in any of the affidavits that you became aware of?
No, the actual time of the seizure through the video, we learned much later. So the approximate time, 5:30, although inaccurate, I did not take any action to correct it, no.
And you received that video as a production from the defense. You did not have access to that video, correct?
Yes.
And so at the time that Michael Proctor actually wrote and drafted these affidavits and swore to them under oath, he did not know that a video existed, correct?
Objection.
Sustained, you have to word it differently.
Sure. At the time that you, let me ask it a different way. At the time that you reviewed his...
If I'll say it's not
declarations
here,
under oath,
I
you
swear.
did not know that a
You're
video
going to be in
existed.
so much trouble.
No, we did not know.
I was waiting for him to pop out.
If I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
funny.
I want to ask you about something that was brought up on direct examination.
Mm-hmm. You drink
Sustained
so much
findings,
water. You must be the healthiest water drinker
as it
ever.
pertains to you. You've already talked about the fact that, Sergeant, you're a supervisor, and we're a supervisor back in January of 2022 moving forward over Trooper Proctor, correct?
Yes.
On Jackson's like, yeah.
Generally
You were
speaking,
supervisor?
as a
Mhm.
supervisor, your job is
Right.
to properly and professionally supervise, show some authority over those in your charge. Is that right?
Yes.
Michael Proctor was, in fact, a trooper in your charge.
Yes.
And you would agree that your supervision has a direct impact on the character and quality of the subordinate investigators that you supervise.
Yes.
The whole point of having supervision and a chain of command is to establish a certain amount of, for lack of a better phrase, quality control of the subordinates.
Yes.
That would also include quality control over the subordinates' investigations.
Yes.
On August 17th, 2022, you were in a group text with the following individuals: Michael Proctor, Trooper Kukowski, a lieutenant named Fanning, and a trooper named DiCicco, D-I-C-I-C-C-O, correct?
Yes.
May I approach you?
Yes.
I'm handing you a document. Can you tell me if you recognize that document?
Oh no. What is it? Oh my god. Why does he take forever to read?
Can you do it?
I can. What I intend to do, I can do with one photograph. If I may have a moment with counsel.
Okay.
Wait, I gotta go back.
DiCicco, D-I-C-I-C-C-O,
We missed
correct?
something.
Yes.
Alan Jackson's breathing in the background. He's like, I'm sick of this shit. I think even Karen, even if she has to do jail time, she's gonna have like the best time in there because she's gonna be everybody's gonna want her phone calls. She's gonna get a bunch of GoFundMes, a bunch of money. You know what I mean? Coding time is not easy, but
May I approach you?
Yes.
she might have it the good way just because everyone's so involved in the case.
I'm handing you a document. Can you tell me if you recognize that document?
Oh, sorry. I rewind it. For watching him read.
I recognize parts of it.
You saw that document on direct examination. I think you the same document, correct?
It was different parts of it, but same. It's inclusive of within this document.
Okay. Let's start with this. You indicated that you did not see Michael Proctor's name on that document, correct?
Correct. His name is not on here.
But you do recognize that as being reflective, accurately reflective of the text chain that you were on August 17th, 2022, that group chat.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to do this a little bit backward, but bear with me. You do see the name Kukowski, correct?
I do.
You do see the name Fanning, correct?
I do.
You do see the name DeChico, correct?
I do.
And you do see the name Buchanan, correct?
No, it's misspelled, but I know it's probably referencing me.
Okay.
No one gives a shit if it's misspelled.
Other texter,
It's you,
person
dude.
texting on that chain,
Dude,
is
I
a code,
swear, I
a
can't.
lengthy, almost like a
can't, that's
URL
cool.
code with no name, correct?
Yes, you're right.
And the only person that I didn't name, whose name I did not read off, it's obvious on that document, is Michael Proctor, correct?
Correct.
So deductive reasoning tells you that that is the code is Michael Proctor. Is that right?
I would agree with you, yes.
Okay. In that text chain, it starts with Trooper DeChico sending a photograph, correct?
No.
May I approach?
Yes.
Please, Alan, approach me.
You turn to page 2683, please. Do you see
Exactly what I'm saying. How was he
Yes, I
able
do.
to read
Okay.
those texts from across the
Fair
room the
enough.
other night?
There were some texts between and among the group that preceded this photograph, correct?
Yes.
I want to start on this date, August 17, 2022, with this photograph. This photograph was sent by Trooper DeChico to the group, correct?
It possibly appears that way. I really can't. I mean,
Your Honor, with the
Yes.
permission, I'm not sure this document has been marked. I'd like to have this marked and
Sure,
admitted.
we'll mark it for ID.
I'd actually like to have it
Sure,
marked and
we'll mark
admitted. There's certain things I'd like to show.
What's the Commonwealth's position on that?
I have no objection to admission, but not in this form. It needs to be redacted.
Dude, what?
Can you do it?
What I intend to do, I can do with one photograph.
Why
if I
does
may
it
have
need
a
to be
moment's counsel.
redacted?
Okay.
Why does it need to be redacted? That's ridiculous.
May I have just a second?
Straight up.
Right, thank you.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd like to publish just one page of what's been marked for identification. I'm sorry, I would ask that it be marked, the entire document be marked for identification.
Yes.
yeah, I need this.
It's Exhibit FF for ID.
And with the court's permission, I would ask to display or to publish page 2683 of that document.
So are you admitting into evidence, page 263?
I would
Do you
just,
have a separate one rather than tearing it out of what's been marked for
I can-
identification?
I can take it out of this copy.
It has to be redacted because some phone number's on there. Baby, you can have my phone number. All of you. Okay. Chill out. You can have my number.
Can you redact it before it's admitted, please?
It's been
You're right.
Okay.
We don't want their numbers. We don't want to talk.
116.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I do what?
Just so we're talking about the same thing, Sergeant, I've just handed you a page that's been marked Exhibit 116. Do you recognize that as being a copy of one of the multiple pages in the document that you're holding that's been marked for identification as FF?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if we could publish that single page, please.
Okay.
Is that a photograph that was sent by Trooper DeChico to the group?
According to this document, yes.
Who is depicted in that photograph?
What?
The big story, Mr. David Yannetti, criminal defense attorney.
Do you see that person in court?
Yes, I do.
Where is he seated and what is he wearing?
What is going on? No, they did not have. They were searching my man, David Yannetti.
He's seated right there wearing a blue tie and a dark suit, white shirt.
Wait,
We can
what
bring
is
the lights
going
up
on?
together.
Okay.
In response to, and going back to the name of Moore, M-O-O-R-E, correct?
There is.
And he disliked Trooper Proctor's phrase, the statement, no
allow
news
it.
so far, correct?
That's what it says.
Did that indicate to you that Moore was disappointed that Trooper Proctor, Michael Proctor, had not found naked pictures of Miss Reed as yet?
I don't know what that indicated for Mr. Moore.
And then you responded to the phrase, funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone. Correct?
Hey,
I
Scarlett. Good to see you.
acknowledged that text message being sent.
You acknowledged it by liking it, correct? With a thumbs up.
Dude.
I acknowledged it by
I
responding.
hate that
with
word.
a
I'm sorry.
thumbs
You're not
up
allowed to say
emoji.
that word on my
The
channel.
fact is, Trooper Proctor told you, his supervisor, in this series of text messages, that he was going through Miss Reed's phone.
I
Is
think
that
it's
right?
foul.
Correct.
And he also informed you, his supervisor, that he was going through her phone looking for nudes or naked pictures of her on her phone.
Nudes. Ah,
He did not tell me that he was going through the naked pictures, for naked pictures through the phone.
He wrote, no nudes so far, right?
That is what is written, yes.
What did you think he was looking for when he wrote that phrase?
oh my God. I'm embarrassed.
I don't know what he was looking for.
What would be a reasonable interpretation of what Michael Proctor was looking for when he wrote, no nudes so far?
They wanted to see Karen nude.
I
God.
don't know.
Motorcycles, handbags, pair of shoes, or naked pictures of Miss Karen Reed?
His mission was to go through the phone to look for digital evidence that's related to the crime. The fact that he wrote no nude so far, I cannot comment on.
You cannot comment on or you don't want to comment on.
I don't know what
Oh my
he was
God.
looking for in that specific time.
Oh my God.
You certainly did nothing. You took no action to stop him from potentially looking for naked pictures of my client, correct?
That's correct.
Wow.
In fact, last week you testified
This is so bad.
that in your view, Michael Proctor handled himself in this investigation with integrity. That's what you said.
Integrity.
Correct?
That's correct.
My
Do you
ass.
stand by that testimony?
The investigation was
Well,
handled
my
with
ass
integrity and honor.
actually has a lot of integrity. It's
Do you
real.
stand by your testimony that Michael Proctor conducted himself during the course of this investigation with integrity?
Yes, I do.
He also called her retarded, correct?
That is what's written.
That's what's written? That's a very passive way of saying it, Sergeant. That's what's written, or that's what he wrote?
That's what he wrote.
Dude.
And that's what you read?
I have no memory of reading that. I acknowledged him going through the phone on my Apple Watch. I have no memory of him writing retarded on a text message.
And you'll agree
Right.
that that is one of the most vile and insensitive and incendiary terms
not even allowed in my
one
chat.
could use in modern society. Retarded.
Blocked. Sorry,
Correct?
baby.
That is correct.
And in fact, through
Not
your
sorry.
response
It is a
to that
foul word.
vile phrase, you encouraged it because you liked it with a thumbs up, correct?
Objection. Sustained.
Did you encourage that statement by Michael Proctor by liking it with a thumbs up?
I don't know if it encouraged him, but so I cannot speak to
But that's
that.
what you did.
I acknowledged the text message being sent.
I want to be clear, these text messages were
no, you
sent
didn't.
to you by your
Stop
direct
lying.
report, by your direct subordinate, correct?
That's correct.
And there was even someone on that text chain who was more senior than you, Lieutenant Fanning, right?
That's correct.
Michael Proctor was both your partner and the lead investigator on this case when he wrote that, correct?
He's a subordinate, and he was the case
Hi, my
officer.
love. I miss you. Good to see you. Good to see you, Susie. It's been a minute
This thread,
since you've been around.
text thread,
Why are you leaving?
contains communications between a subordinate, the person you call the case officer. By the way, let me ask you another question. Did you ever, during the course of the investigation in which you were a part, the sustained findings, the internal affairs investigation, did you ever review Colonel Noble's determinations about your subordinate, Michael Proctor?
Objection.
Did you review them?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Okay.
Oh my God.
What would Colonel Noble call Michael Proctor's title in this case? You think he'd call him the case officer or the lead investigator? What is your experience with Massachusetts State Police in that regard?
Objection.
Sustained.
Notwithstanding the fact that a subordinate was on this text chain and a supervisor to you, was Lieutenant Fanning one of your supervisors?
Yes.
Notwithstanding the fact that a subordinate was on this text chain and one of your supervisors was on this text chain, you felt comfortable enough within this group of law enforcement to actually like when the subordinate refers to a suspect as retarded, correct?
I acknowledged the text message with a thumbs up emoji.
Do you believe that? Well, let me ask you another question, a predicate question. You were also comfortable enough with that text chain to receive information that your subordinate was looking for naked pictures on a suspect's phone, a woman, no less. Correct? You took no remedial action against Trooper Proctor for that, correct?
No, I did not. No.
Do you believe, as you sit here, that that was a misuse of power and authority by a Massachusetts State Police officer?
By myself or somebody else?
By Michael Proctor.
Misuse of what?
Misuse of authority and power. To go through a suspect's phone, to get her phone using the authority and the power vested in that officer by the community members. That's the power that you've derived, correct? You work for the public. Would you agree?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you believe it was a misuse of his authority and power to use Massachusetts State Police Authority to go through her phone and look for naked pictures of her?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you believe it was a misuse of authority or power to go through her phone?
They wanted to
and
see her naked.
potentially look for nudes?
Y'all know in the chat that I'm not
Objection.
lying. They're not
Sister.
lying. They wanted to get a little freaky with Karen's nude picture.
Let me ask it differently.
It's inappropriate.
Did
It's
you think
inappropriate,
his text was appropriate?
I don't remember reading that text.
As you
So
sit here now, do you think that text is appropriate?
No.
no, it is not.
Do you think it's professional?
Good job, Bukaki.
No, it is not.
Do you think it shows integrity?
Oh, because he said Proctor had
That text
integrity.
message does not show integrity.
Do you think it shows honor? A word I expect you hold dear.
Oh my
That text
God.
message does not show honor.
On October 15th, 2022, you completed a performance review of Michael Proctor, correct?
That's correct.
Specifically, you were
Performance
asked
review.
to rank his, quote, oral and written communication
He said
skills.
Proctor
end
has
quote.
integrity.
Correct.
That's part of an overall evaluation and performance review. Is
Does
that right?
Proctor have integrity
so-
when he was talking about Karen's being a leaky balloon knot and then wanting to see pictures of her naked?
Overall 90-day quarterly annual review.
You were specifically asked to rank
I'm disgusted.
whether he
Disgusting.
effectively would whether members, your subordinates, would effectively communicate with others, both within and outside the department, in oral and written form, correct?
I'm sure he
That's
did rank
correct.
his well.
And you rated him as exceptional, a number 4 rating out of 5, correct?
That's correct.
You actually went on to write and comment on Michael Proctor, and you wrote, quote, Trooper Michael Proctor displays professional demeanor, composure, dignity, and respect during the performance of his duties, and especially during his interactions with the public. This is seen during interviews with witnesses, suspects, as well as victims and their families, end quote. That was a statement you wrote about Michael Proctor, correct?
That is correct.
And this is after the
I'm
text
sorry.
chain that we've just been talking about.
If I vouch for
where
someone shitty like this, I'd be embarrassed.
he calls Miss Reed retarded and references looking
can't
for
with that
nude
word.
photographs of her. Correct?
That is correct.
Edit this out. It
Was
really
your
bothers
statement
me.
in that evaluation true or false?
It was true.
You knew Michael Proctor's proclivities, obviously. You told them to, correct?
The term proclivities, what
You
does that mean?
knew
Proclivities means he wanted to see Karen's ass in the news.
what he tended to do,
Hey,
what he
I'm just
wanted to
speaking
do through his
the truth.
own comments, to look for nudes on a woman's phone.
Don't
correct?
come for me because I'm telling the truth.
You were aware, sir, that he had received evidence in a case. Evidence that doesn't belong to him, belongs to the Massachusetts State Police, at least at that point. Correct? The cell phone.
I was aware that he received a cell phone, yes.
And he used that power and the authority to go through that cell phone and look for nudes of my client, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
During the same course of your evaluation, you were also asked to evaluate his investigative ability, correct?
That's correct.
You rated him the highest standard in the Massachusetts State Police, outstanding, a 5, correct?
That's correct.
And you went on to write about Michael Proctor in the commentary below that rating to justify it. Is that right?
That is accurate, yes.
You wrote, quote, Trooper Proctor has had a high-profile caseload with a lot of eye and pressure from external sources during the first day of the investigation. He handled himself and all the case with utmost professionalism and competence. He is able to investigate his case thoroughly and with strict integrity, end quote. Correct?
Which quarterly review was this?
This is the same one, October 2022. Is that right? Those are your comments.
That sounds very accurate. I just was not sure which quarterly review that was for.
Professionalism?
Yes.
You believe that he acted in accordance with the highest standards of professionalism?
During his 90-day performance, yes.
And you didn't just say he displayed professionalism, you said utmost professionalism, correct?
Yes.
Competence? Do you believe he displayed competence?
Yes.
Competence? No.
And not just in
Absolutely
integrity,
not.
but he conducted himself, as you put it, with strict integrity. Is that right?
That is correct.
Did it show integrity in your view when your subordinate Michael Proctor called Miss Reed retarded?
Objection.
I'm like spitting out my drink because you keep saying that word.
I believe that as a U.S. citizen, he has the right to comment. That's his First Amendment right.
Oh my God.
We uphold.
Oh my God. He's not saying First Amendment right. You can use the word R. Like, shut the up. Bukaki, you sound like a idiot.
The Constitution.
I'm serious.
And
my God.
it's unfortunate,
This is
unprofessional what he said
ridiculous.
in a private text
Someone
message
please.
communication.
Someone please.
He might have been voicing his
You
frustrations.
do
I
like
cannot
a
speak
dry-
for Michael Proctor.
This is crazy.
It is
This is crazy.
unprofessional
This is
and
crazy.
unfortunate that he said that.
This was not
I'm done with
Sergeant
Bukaki.
Buchanan,
I'm done.
a private text
I'm done.
message conversation.
Fucking idiot. I'm
His
sorry.
boss.
Bringing up the Constitution when your partner is talking about looking at some ass on some moods. No,
It was
absolutely
amongst
not.
members of the
What
unit.
is that? What does the
He's
Constitution
updating
say
his-
about looking up nudes? Huh? What does the Constitution say about that, Bukaki?
Boss about what he was
Oh,
doing
no,
in furtherance
I
of the
can't.
investigation, going through
I
her
just
phone.
can't.
Correct?
No, I would disagree with
Next
you
time
on
you
that.
all see my
This
I'm
was
going
a
to bring
group
up the
chain,
Constitution.
text
How you
message
like-
chain that we
how
were
you like
discussing
that,
private matters in our personal lives.
Private matters, including going through Miss Reed's phone?
That is unfortunately shared on that group text.
So in other words,
I'm dying over here.
to the public, he holds one face.
Photos were invented when they were. I literally spit out my drink. Photos were invented when they were.
different face, private face, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
I can't breathe. I need
You
mouth
said
to
that
mouth,
you
not
believe that
by
he has
Bukaki,
a
and not by
constitutional
Whitney.
right, a First Amendment right, to call Miss Reed a suspect in his official investigation, in his official capacity as a Massachusetts state trooper, to call her
Why would they even be
retarded?
talking about news?
That's your
number 7,
justification?
while they're on the
Yeah.
clock,
Sustained.
being cops.
Do you justify
Carondle,
his statement that vile
Carondle, yum yum, meow. Wake up,
statement?
wake
I
up
do
from your
not
cat
know.
nap.
Do you think it's appropriate, given the fact that he has a First Amendment right to say whatever he wants?
No, I do not.
Do you think there
I'm
actually might be
embarrassed.
members of the community,
I'm embarrassed
Parents.
for Proctor and Bukaki.
siblings,
Objection.
children?
Mr. Jackson, I'm going to exclude that question as argumentative.
Dad,
Move on.
I can't wait till this trial is over and I can come find you.
You wrote in your report, if I may have a moment, Your Honor, you wrote in your report about his
Just
conduct.
kidding.
He shows composure, dignity, and respect during the performance of
Allegedly.
his duties, and
Ellie's
especially
opinion.
during his interactions with the public.
I don't
he
condone
has
violence.
a duty to the public, to the community that he serves, correct?
Yes, he does.
Just like you have a duty to the public and the community that you serve.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
That is correct.
Do you think community members might take offense to the use of the
Objection.
word retarded?
Objection.
Sustained.
Objection.
It's argumentative
Objection.
again, Mr. Jackson. Please don't do that.
Bev, get a ball and drink it because you need it. You need to chill out. Someone give, same. Give your
He didn't just
girlfriend
put it,
Bev
that
a buzz
derogatory
please.
comment. He didn't just put it,
Can't deal with her anymore.
or he didn't just say it, correct? You talked about the First Amendment.
Objection.
Sustained.
I'm not finished with my
Dude, bringing
question.
up the First Amendment
I could.
is wild.
All right, so just ask a question.
Sure.
Comments first, okay?
My question is, did he just say the word? Or did he go further than just saying it?
Objection.
Okay, we've gone through this. Move on, please.
The fact is, Sergeant, you put it in writing and you liked it, correct?
I acknowledge the text message. I never saw the vile term.
Your Honor, may we approach it just very briefly for a scheduling issue?
Okay, jurors, feel free to stand up and stretch.
I can't. I can't get over that.
Did you learn?
Bukaki I would just be like, can I be excused?
A different area. At some point during the course of your investigation,
liked it.
you
Oh,
and Michael Proctor
Randall coming in
interviewed
hot.
Chris and Julie Albert, correct?
That's correct.
That was at the Albert residence, the Chris and Julie Albert residence, is that right?
Yes.
On or about February 10th, 2022?
Yes,
Does that sound right?
it does.
Okay. At any point before or during that interview, did Michael Proctor discuss with you
Get over it, Molly.
previous relationship
Number
that
7,
he and
calm
his
down.
family had with Chris and Julie Albert or their family?
Chill out.
Yes, as we were walking
Chill
up
out.
to
Your
the
bestie,
door,
Bukaki.
he
was
stated
being
that he
dirty.
knows
Or
them
something.
from, he knows of them from around town and through friendship.
Did that cause you any concern that the case officer that had been assigned
Is
to the
Bukaki
case,
still employed? He shouldn't
dealing with,
be.
obviously involving the Albert family, had a pre-existing familiarity or relationship with any members of the Albert family?
Yes, I followed up asking him if he hangs out with these people, how well he knows them, and he stated that he does not hang out with them. They're not his friends. He just happens to know them through people in town.
Did he tell you any specifics about communications he had related to Chris and Julie Albert?
No, he did not.
Did he tell you any specifics about communications Michael Proctor had with his sister as it pertained to Chris and Julie Albert?
No.
Did he volunteer any information about the relationship that he might have or his family might have, including his wife, with Chris and or Julie Albert?
That information did not come up.
Did you ever later learn, now I'm taking it outside of your conversation with Michael Proctor, did you ever later learn about friendship or connection that he and his family, Michael Proctor's family, had with Chris and Julie Albert or the Albert family?
I've learned of accusations. I don't know the extent of how familiar they are.
What accusations have you learned?
Through trial or through court proceedings.
Right, what are they? Give me the nature of what you've learned.
Objection.
Sustained, we need a time frame.
Sure. When did you learn of these, of this information?
That was July of 2023, I believe.
And what were the circumstances in which you gained this knowledge? What did you learn about it?
There were accusations that Michael Proctor had familial friendship with these individuals, but the accusations were not factual.
Did you learn any specifics?
Wait, what? I'm like spitting out my drink.
Of
of the allegations? You used the word allegations, or I think you used the word accusations.
Yes,
Were there any specifics?
there were.
You just said that there, what were some of the specifics?
Objection.
Sustained.
Well, by the way, did you say that you learned of these accusations during the last proceeding in this case?
Not the last proceeding.
Or a prior proceeding in this case?
It was through court proceedings.
Okay, how did you learn that specifically, Sergeant? Did you watch some of the proceedings? Were they televised? Did someone report it to you? What were the circumstances?
I was present in court.
This was what year? 2020? 2023.
Yes.
And did you take
made
any
the
action
accusations or
to
allegations
investigate further
from Al.
the accusations that you said came up in 2023?
No. Well, yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, what did you do in that regard? What were the accusations and what did you do to investigate?
Not sequestered, Austin. Can't Randall.
The information had been learned and that it was not factual. So
Okay, you're using the word information.
Bev?
Help me out. Details. What'd you learn?
there was claims that
I object.
Sustained.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I love when they all approach because you know it's beef time. Okay, let's shaw business. Who loves you and who you love?
Final question, Sergeant. I think I asked this, but let me make sure I'm clear. Your interview, along with Michael Proctor, with Chris and Julie Albert, was February 10th, 2022, correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm not certain on that, but I believe it was.
Okay. Well, let me just clear that up real quick. Would it refresh your recollection to look at your report?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Does that refresh your recollection, Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
What was the date?
February 10th.
Thank you. Okay. I want to move to back to Canton PD. Did you at some point recover some videos or a series of electronic data that purported to be videos from Canton PD in furtherance of your investigation?
Yes.
And to whom did you deliver these videos and whom were they requested by?
The initial request was by Michael Proctor. I delivered them to him.
Okay. Since that delivery, have you seen these videos?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm holding a flash drive that I'd like to have, with the court's permission, I'd like to have marked as next in order for introduction, but I'll play the first couple of seconds of it and just establish the foundation first with the court's permission.
Have you shown it or discussed this with Mr. Brennan?
I've just discussed it with Mr. Brennan at the break.
What's the Commonwealth's position? I have no idea what it is.
Sure, we can mark them. Yes. Mr. Brennan said he'd like to review them before they get entered into evidence. We can mark them for ID for purposes of this examination.
I don't expect I'll object. I just want to review.
Okay. So we'll mark it for identification, please, Madam Court Reporter.
Exhibit GG for identification.
Just to establish the foundation so we know what we're talking about, did you see on some of the electronic devices that you picked up in furtherance of this investigation video of somebody outside, the outside cameras or outside camera view at Canton PD at about 1:30 in the morning on January 29th, 2022?
the digital video, one of the collection items. It wasn't a device. It was, well, I guess it is a device, but the digital storage that was collected had video from external view of the PD. I do not remember specifically.
Okay.
Oh, he
seeing
doesn't
the
remember.
individual, but
Okay.
I did review it.
Being of the parking lot area, at least one of them, one of the clips being of the parking lot area outside Canton PD.
I don't remember seeing outside parking lot. I'd have to see it.
I understand. Do you remember another clip being of the outside Sally Port? There's a pedestrian door, not the big roll-up door, but the pedestrian door. Someone going in and out of the pedestrian door.
I know the view you're talking about, but specifically what you're saying, I would have to see the video, tell you if I saw it or not.
And I'm asking a couple of these other questions. I think I may know what the answer is. There's another, do you remember another video being an internal corridor, looking down a hallway, seeing someone walk up or back?
Yes,
Do you
yes,
remember that one?
I do.
Okay, and then one on the outside, again, sort of passing from right to left. May not be intended to a parking lot.
How he
This is
says
an
it.
outdoor,
That's hilarious.
View of someone moving from frame right to frame left across the camera angle.
I don't remember that.
You do remember that all these videos, I've just mentioned 4, we've talked about 4, these videos were from January 29th, 2022, around generally
It's his memory
1:30, 1:45, 2 o'clock in the morning.
I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact time and date. I just remember seeing the file and reviewing it.
Do you remember Mr. Proctor asking for video attendant to January 29th? At least can we narrow it to that date?
From Ken PD?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So these are all from January 29th, 2022. You just don't remember the specifics of them. It's been too long since you've seen them.
I don't know when each video was collected and then reviewed.
Okay.
Exactly.
With the court's permission, well, may I have just a moment to confer with counsel?
Okay.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd ask that what's been marked as GG, at least the first video, be published for the jurors.
All right, so there are 4 videos on this flash drive?
One video, 4 different camera angles as it's set from the one video.
Are you ready to see this now? I thought you wanted to review it.
I'll agree, and if I have a problem, I'll let the court know. I have no problem.
All right, so for the first one, the first camera angle?
Correct.
Okay.
It's one video, but 4 different angles.
All right, we just have to keep a record. That's why I'm
Understood.
asking all these
It's a
questions.
little complicated.
Shut up, Bev. We know. Keep a
All right,
record.
we can do that.
Thank you.
Document that shit. We get it. There's a court reporter who's transcribing everything. We get it. We get it.
And
It's
this
live
is-
TV.
Your Honor, just for the
Nothing
record,
is happening here.
Actually, let me do it this way. Sergeant, would you agree that we can call this the rear lot main side at Canton PD, just for identification purposes?
Sure, if you'd like. I don't know which side this is, so I can't argue with you about the location. So I'll agree with you that we can call it that.
Great. It looks like a parking lot. There's cars.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Just for purposes of, so it doesn't get complicated, we'll call this rear lot main side. That doesn't mean anything unless you adopt it. So just for identification purposes.
Thank you.
If we could move to runtime 1:26:32. Okay. With the court's permission, may I play it at this point?
Okay.
Thank you. Stop. Did you see a car pass in front?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What kind of car did that look like to you?
It looked like a 2-door Jeep Wrangler with a plow on it.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it. Okay, stop. Sergeant, did you, during the course of your investigation, learn whether or not anybody associated with your investigation had a 2-door Jeep Wrangler with a plow on it?
Yes.
Who is that?
Mr. Brian Higgins.
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and play this. Okay, stop. Sir, do you see a person who appears to have alighted from the car,
Yes.
from the Jeep?
A Higgy file.
Sergeant, if you could turn your attention to the screen on the right. Does that appear to be the location of the person that you're describing?
That's the individual that came out of the vehicle, yes.
Okay. I know it's super blurry. You may not be able to at this point. Do you know who that is?
I do not know.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play it. Okay, stop. All right, did you see the person walk off the screen?
Yes.
Did it appear that that person had something in his or her hands?
Possibly, yes.
Okay. May I have a moment, Your Honor?
This is not good.
Thank you, Your Honor. If we
This
could play
is
the second
not
clip on
good.
this same GG.
Yeah, I think this trial just needs to end.
Before this is played,
Should have never
do
even
you
happened.
recognize what's depicted in this
The second one.
photograph?
I do not know.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play this.
Torta pounder.
Stop.
Lola.
What do you see on the video at this point?
You wake up. I'm gonna
An
wait.
individual
Wake up. We've
crossing
been
the
here for
frame
like
with a
3
couple of
hours.
cars parked, one of which has a plow on it.
Does it look like an exterior video?
Yes.
Does that appear to be an exterior video if you don't know exactly where an exterior video of Canton PD?
From the facilities, yes.
Okay. And describe the person that you see
Some
in the
people are just
foreground
not impressing me
at the
tonight.
bottom of the screen.
I'm not impressed.
Appears to be wearing a black sweatshirt,
Really
a hooded
not.
sweatshirt.
Larger in stature, smaller in stature, can you tell?
I'd be speculating because there's no comparison, but possibly larger. I don't know.
Meow.
Okay, let's go ahead and play.
Meow, meow. Meow.
And that's it for that. Your Honor, if we could play the next video. By the way, can we agree, before we move off of this, just for identification purposes, can we agree to call this rear lot cruiser side as opposed to rear lot main side, just to keep them separate?
Same as last time. I'm not aware familiar where that camera is, so I cannot argue with you nor adopt. But if for identification purposes only, we can agree on that.
Can you see from where you are,
What
I
is
know
the
the answer to this,
copy?
can you see from where you are the timestamp on the bottom of this?
No.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, it's very, very small. Is it possible to ask the witness to adjourn from the witness stand just to get close enough to see if you can read the...
You can't increase the size of it?
maybe we can. I'm not the tech guy. Mr. Wolk? Magic. Wow. I didn't even know he could do that. Okay, can you read that?
Yes, it says rear lot cruiser side.
Okay, what about the time?
The timestamp reads 1:27:41.
Do you see a date?
Yes,
What is that date?
1/29/2022.
Thank you. This was my fault. Your Honor, if we could move back to rear lot main side, I'd like to do the same thing. I failed to ask for the time and date on that one. Mr. Wolk, if you could, please. Is it possible to see from there the time and date?
Yes, the time is 1:27:32 a.m. and the date is 1/29/2022.
Thank you. Okay, if we can move to the third clip. If we could start, Mr. Wolk, by enhancing with the court's permission the time and date, let's just start with that. Do you see what the timestamp designates this camera angle to be?
It appears to be church side.
Well, you can read.
And I can't read the third
Barely.
word there.
Exterior?
Barely
Oh,
cat
yes,
run, though.
exterior. Sallyport.
Okay, and if you could tell the jurors what you see in terms of the time and date?
The time is 1:27:43 a.m. and the date is 1/29/2022.
Thank you. Mr. Wolk, if you could play that with the court's permission.
Okay.
Is that his name? Mr. Woke?
Stop. Do you see a person in that video?
I do.
Although it's somewhat blurry, can you describe that individual for us, please?
Individual wearing dark clothing, possibly. Yeah, that's the best I could do, really.
Okay. Does it appear, given what you've seen in terms of the time
Who
of
is
the
that?
main side, cruiser side, and now this exterior
Who is
church
that
side,
in the
does that appear to
picture?
be the same person moving through on the outside of Kenton PD?
It does, yes.
Okay. And what are we looking at here, by the way? What is this
Wait.
door he's about to walk into?
What?
I'd be guessing. I was never present on that side of the Sallyport.
Understood.
I don't know.
Let's go ahead and play this. Okay, and for the final clip. If we could go down to the timestamp and date. A little bigger, Mr. Wolk, if you could.
His third language is I don't know.
Can you
Mr.
see
Woke
what that
and
is
wait.
designated as that camera angle?
Mr. Woke
Yes, it says first floor corridor,
and
and the
Lieutenant.
time is 1:28:03 a.m. on
Wait, I
the
wanna know
29th
what-
of January 2022.
Okay. Is this the corridor version or video that you did have some
Manual?
recollection of?
Yes, this is, yes.
Okay, if we can go ahead and play this.
No one yet.
Stop. Do you recognize the person in this video?
It appears to be Mr. Brian Higgins.
Okay, and what is he wearing? Describe it for the jurors.
There's
Black
Higgy.
sweatshirt with some sort of logo on the front. It appears to be blue jeans and shoes with the trim.
Ryan.
And is the
Higgins.
hood up or down on the sweatshirt?
It's
What
up.
is he doing back
Let's go
there?
ahead and play this.
Oh my god. What is going on right now?
May I have just a moment? Could you pause this, Mr. Wolf?
Wait. I'm confused.
Can you make note of the time as it's paused right
Wait.
here?
Oh my god.
Do you want me to say it
This
again
is
or write it
so
down?
bad.
Yes, sir.
The time is 1:28:16 a.m.
Okay, and if we could just continue playing
What?
this video.
Dude. Not Higgins back at the police. Is that what I'm
is
understanding?
playing.
Did I misunderstand?
Stop. Now, if you could take a look at the time now.
He reminds me of Brian Koberger in that hood. Brian Higgins.
Okay, what's that time?
The black hoodie.
1:29:42
Okay.
a.m.
And if we could go ahead and go forward. Is it still playing, Mr. Wolk? Okay. If we could take a look at the time one more time.
Now it's, you want me to say it?
Yes, sir.
1:34:12 a.m.
And in the time, just so the record's clear.
He is
in
an
the time
animal of a
between
different sort.
You saying
Pat Randall, you are not
1:28:16
wrong.
to 1:34:12, 6 minutes has not gone by, correct?
Oh
Just
my
under 6, I
gosh.
believe, yeah.
Well, 6 minutes for us in real time.
Oh, in real time, yeah, no.
It is not. So it
Sorry.
appears that the camera jumped, or the time jumped.
The time difference from what was displayed is approximately 6 minutes, yes.
Okay, which is much further than, much longer than the time we've actually been looking at the video, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so it appears that it may be motion activated and it just jumped.
That's a possibility, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
let's go ahead and
Dude.
continue playing this.
No.
And stop. Do you see someone in the screen now?
Yes.
And one more time, I know this is laborious, one more time if we could clock the time. Can you see that?
Oh my God.
It's really blurry for me.
You can see it. You
There we
freaking
go.
liar.
Yes. Now I can see it 1:34:15, if I'm not mistaken, AM.
Okay, fair enough. And let's go ahead and play this all the way through. Okay. Who did that appear to be?
I'm sorry,
walking
they were
away from
totally
the
up
camera
to
in this
something.
shot?
There's nothing else I can say about
I'm not
this.
certain. I
Henry
would
needs
be
to be let free.
suspecting or guessing if I gave
Or
you
at
an
least
answer,
get a
but I'm
DUI.
not certain who
I
it
don't know.
is.
As
Whatever.
best you can determine.
Give her a DUI.
Does he have the same
her
stature?
two.
I know you can't see his face. Same stature, same clothing.
Do it.
Jeans,
Bye.
shoes with white stripe around it.
This is ridiculous.
Dark hooded sweatshirt. That you appear to be the same person as Brian Higgins.
It does appear that way, yes.
Okay. Is that it? Okay. There's one more clip that I'd ask you to look at on this same GG device.
Give her two. No. Why is he even there? Why is he even there?
What do you see in this
That's the
video?
point.
Appears to be the church side sally port, and an individual came out of the door.
Okay, and can we highlight the time, please, or increase the size?
No.
What time do you see there?
No, honey.
1:34:40
This is
a.m.
a shoddy
Okay. Can you go ahead
investigation.
and play this through?
Shoddy employees.
Pause. Does it appear from this video that the person has anything in his hand?
I'm sorry, can you play that again? I wasn't looking at the hand, but
Sure.
He's there and knows his way around the office.
I really
What's
can't
in his
tell.
hand in that
Okay.
video? I can't tell either. So I back that. I can't see that. Can you see that? What is that?
There should be another video of the rear lock cruiser side. Let's take a look at that.
I'm trying to see. Are they going to show him pulling up
Pause.
in the driveway?
What do you see in that
Parking lot?
video?
it
Oh,
appears to be an individual wearing a black beanie hat, black dark colored sweatshirt with some design on it, and something illuminating by
that's right,
his face.
Lexi. The most shoddy shot
Can
ever.
we enhance the time, please? What time is that?
Okay,
It
that's
says
blurry.
1:34 and
Excellent. You
53
really want me to-
seconds
Oh, the time. I can read the time,
in the morning, a.m.
but I
If you could
can't
move
see that
the
background.
screen over to the individual.
Oh, I see what he's
Cool.
doing. Okay. Oh,
Does that appear to be the same person?
on his cell phone.
It could possibly be, yeah.
Oh
And
my
does it
god.
appear as something in his hand up to his face, the right side of his face or ear?
Yes.
What do you think that is?
It's consistent with a cellular device, possibly a phone or a tablet.
Okay. If we could move on, please.
Again, what's this have to do with the
Play that
case?
through. And I believe there's one more video. And Your Honor, this one is a little longer. This is about 10 minutes.
Okay.
With the court's permission, I'd like to play this through.
I don't know. I just want to know. I want to know what the 3 unknown male DNAs. I want to know who that was on John O'Keefe's pants or clothing. That's what I want to know. I don't give a fuck about this video. Many things could happen in a night out, whatever. We don't know. People come and go. People do shit. I want to know who that DNA was on John O'Keefe And where is Chloe? And why did you get rid of her?
Do you see a person in the video walking from screen right to screen left?
Yes.
Did that person appear to have something in
And
his
why do you want to see Karen Reed nude?
right hand?
I can't tell. I can't see his right hand.
Okay.
I just
when
have
he first walked into the
questions.
screen, could you tell?
Get hickey with it.
I couldn't.
I
I'm
ain't getting
sorry.
hickey with him.
Mr. Wolf, could we back that up?
Hell
Explanation,
nah.
about 2 seconds. Stop.
Hickey's
Did it appear as
gross.
something in his hand?
It's a possibility, yes.
Okay. And just for, I'm going to ask you for 2 times when we start and when we stop. What's the time on this video at this point when he walks into frame?
1:35 and 8 seconds in the morning, a.m.
Okay. And let's go ahead and play this through.
Brian Higgins walks like he thinks he's a shit. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I think I'm hot. Whatever. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. Hey, Estupin. Or is it from the 3 people who beat him up in those days? In the house. I'm curious. Hey, Sean B. Good to see you. Hey, Killa. I can't even see what's going on there. Like, what are they trying to show? His car? Or what? I don't know. What's in the video? I'm missing it. Yeah. Like, what are we looking at here? Oh, wait, what's going on? I heard them say Higgy moved a bag. In this video? Surely they could have edited this. It's snowy. Oh, there we
Pause
go.
it, please.
We're
So
being
at this point,
impatient.
you see a
We're being
person
impatient.
walking into the
I
frame
was.
into the video from frame left to frame right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh. I don't see what that person is doing. Proves he was on his phone, his butt answered it, and held it to his ear. I don't know. For real? I'm sorry, Alan Jackson. I'm missing something here. I don't see sheep in the cell. Higgins walks as fast as the Didington. Because he never dialed or what? Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to see. Did he get in the car?
Can you pause it? Did you see something happen with the vehicle next to the Jeep?
I must have missed that.
Yes.
I didn't even see
What was that?
It appears as though the headlights are activated.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Oh. Oh. So, what does that
You
prove
see a person that
exactly? He
is
turned
walking
into
from
the.
screen right to screen left in the middle of the screen?
Yes, he just, or she just appears to have closed the door on that vehicle next to the plow.
Okay. And walking
Right.
toward which vehicle?
The one on the furthest on the left.
Okay, from what you've seen, Sergeant, that you said he or she, does that person appear to be consistent with the video that we've seen of, in other particulars, of Brian Higgins?
As far as I could tell from here, the individual accessed Brian Higgins' vehicle, so I'd be speculating with the whiteout conditions or near whiteout conditions. It's tough to tell.
But no reason to believe that it's anybody other than Brian Higgins accessing Brian Higgins' vehicle?
No.
Let's go ahead. And what do you see Brian Higgins, or that person doing now?
Oh.
They accessed the vehicle
He's like
on
Brian,
the far left.
that person.
Okay. And where's that person going?
Now they're accessing the Jeep Wrangler.
What the heck? This usually is a Brian in these cases. Oh wow. That's wild.
Can you pause it? Where does that individual appear to be now in the video?
Last I could tell, they might be by the Jeep Wrangler.
Before that person got to the Jeep Wrangler, was he standing by the vehicle on the far left? SUV or truck?
It appeared that way, but with the heavy whiteout snow that night, I can't tell exactly what they were doing.
Did you see anything in his hand, like a bag or a satchel or a duffel bag or something, when that person walked from this vehicle over to the Jeep?
I did not notice, no.
Go ahead. Now, has that person walked off screen to the left?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is wild.
Do you see that person entering screen from screen left?
Yes.
The cops think we're all stupid. Cat Randall, you better tell them they ain't playing us. Cat Randall. Nope. We're not the ones, Cat Randall. Penta. Meow. Meow meow.
What did you just see the person do?
They were carrying possibly like a snow broom, walking from left to right.
Oh my god. Hey, Raph. What? No. I need to like really look into that because even with my glasses, I can't see shit. Do what? Do what, Asim?
And what do you see happening now?
The Jeep Wrangler's leaving the spot it was parked in.
Okay. Okay, we can take that down.
I know. I don't what?
Oh, I'm sorry. I failed to ask you the time. I promised I would do it, and I forgot again. Can we look at the time real quick?
No underwear allowed here.
Yes, the time for the rear lot main side is 1:45:52.
And it appears that's the approximate time that the Jeep Wrangler drove off?
Approximately, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Bev is like yawning over there.
In
Wow.
20,
Wow, Bev.
well,
Wake up. Up. Bev, you can't do it during the daytime,
are
and
you
here I am
friends
steaming your
with
ass at
Brian
night.
Higgins?
I am not.
The audacity.
Do you know Brian Higgins?
I know who he is, yes.
Have you ever socialized with Brian Higgins?
Like out on private time?
Go out, have a beer,
No.
see him at a bar.
Yeah,
Hey,
like
Brian,
at the
what's that
bar,
beer?
not in the shower, cocky.
Nothing like that? How long have you known Mr. Higgins?
I'm getting ready to like.
I'd be speculating. It's before this case. He was a law enforcement individual that worked in the area. So I've had cases where he assisted on, and that I've assisted on.
Would you consider yourself to have a professional relationship with him?
I knew who he was, so yes, I would consider it a professional relationship.
But you would not consider your relationship to have gone over to the personal relationship? You don't
Not at all.
socialize, do any
No.
private
No.
get-togethers?
No.
Okay. You would agree that this video pretty clearly shows, at least at one point, around 1:34 a.m.,
you're fine.
Brian Higgins was on his phone.
Is that the one that he has the device by his face?
Correct.
It appears that way, yes.
And just to be clear, when you interviewed Mr. Higgins, he did not volunteer to give you his phone, correct?
He did not volunteer it, no.
And you didn't seek his phone through a warrant or any other mechanism?
I did not know.
Do you have any personal knowledge as to the status of that phone as we sit here today?
The one that he got the extractions from?
Correct.
No idea, no.
I want to shift gears to another series of videos. Last year at another proceeding, you were asked about a couple of videos from the interior Sallyport garage at Canton PD. So now we're going to move to the interior. You remember those series of questions and answers that you gave?
Generally.
Okay. You were asked at another proceeding to describe when the SUV, Miss Reed's SUV, first arrived at the Sallyport garage around 5:30 or so, correct?
Based on my recollection of it first arriving, or what we were viewing?
No, what you were viewing.
I'm objecting to this.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Oh my God, I asked.
Do you remember being asked a series of questions concerning the arrival of the SUV, just in general?
I think this was a German descent. No, he's Russian.
But I remember that it happened. I don't remember the exact questions, what my answers were.
And you remember seeing a video about which you were asked questions concerning the arrival of that SUV, pulling into the Sallyport, who was who, what the time frame was generally. Do you remember that colloquy, that discussion?
Oh, was it
I remember it
Ukrainian?
taking place, yes.
You might be right.
That was Mr.
might be right,
Riley asking
Randall.
you questions, correct?
I believe so.
Under questioning by the Commonwealth, you were asked whether the video that you were looking at fairly and accurately represented the SUV arriving at the Sallyport garage, correct?
Yes.
And you indicated, in fact, it
Oh,
did
you're right. You're right,
fairly and
Randall.
accurately depict
I just
the
looked it
arrival
up.
of the SUV at the Sallyport garage.
You're right. You're right. It says he's a friend, born in the Ukraine. Yep, you're right.
Is that right?
That's correct.
I'd like to ask you a question about that particular video.
Never doubt the cat. I'm sorry, cat. Yeah. Gary Buchanan needs to get that smug look off his face. Like, if I was his wife and I was sitting at dinner with this face, I would be like, well, I wouldn't even have married him in the first place, but I'd be like, I need a divorce ASAP.
Your Honor, I'm holding a flash drive. May I approach?
Yes.
Yeah, he has a wife. He has a ring on. He could be lying. We don't never know.
I'm going to have just one go.
With his face. That is just a masked cop face. Oh. Okay. So remind me when I go to Boston to party my ass off, not to hook up and date one of the cops there. Because I don't want to be waking up next to that face. Oh, no, baby.
May I have a moment to consult with counsel?
Okay. Paul, the lunch is here. Jurors, you know what? Let's take the luncheon break.
Thank you.
Okay. And that's where we're going to end it. Yeah. Smells like rotten eggs, right, Emily? How she kissed those deflated lips. Ew. Yeah. I'm sending you off to bed now. I've been here for 3.5 hours. I can't get caught up on this. Okay, so tomorrow's Thursday. We have Diddy, Karen Reed tomorrow. Friday, we have a deep dive into a case I'm not going to mention right now. Say the name. And then Karen Reed. And then Saturday, we have another deep dive. Karen Reed. I think Karen Reed marathon Saturday to get caught up. Are you going to be here? You better be here. I can't live without you guys. You think Diddy will get off? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the Diddy trial. I don't know what's going to happen with the Karen Reed trial. I don't know what's going to happen with the Brian Koberger trial. Oh, wait, and I forgot to mention Friday and Saturday night, party night, no underwear, bring your drinks. Get ready for it. We're doing Melly After Dark both of those nights. So we have a full weekend of content. The world is crazy right now. Melly's crazy right now. Apparently, the cops in Boston are taken by Karen Reed. Hey, I might just have to hit up Karen Reed and be like, I'll be here after 12 a.m. Sounds good. I'll try to make it every day. Yeah, you guys should. We got lots of new subbies. Our little family here is growing, and I'm so grateful. Thank you for being here. Yeah, Alsane says, drink your water. Yes, I will be needing to drink a lot of water because I have to go to work in like 5 hours. Yeah. Anyways, ask me about it tomorrow, but thank you for being here. Fun hanging out. I will see you guys tomorrow night. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Tell your friends to get their ass over here to my channel. Okay? Bring them on over. Tell them I'm a little crazy, but it's fun here. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye.
Dark hair shining in the Cali sun. Really on the case, so no point in trying to run. The sense can ask for feedbacks, but you getting none. It's crime o'clock with Melly, let's have some fucking fun. Some try to hide away, so all they do is work. But nobody can hide when she gets a hold of that paperwork. So don't you dare come in here acting like a jerk. Dance might make her dance, but new court docs will make her wanna twerk. Dark hair shining in the Cali sun. Melly on the case, so no point in trying to run. You Sims can ask for feedbacks, but you getting none. It's crime o'clock with Melly, let's have some fucking fun. So if you're feeling for true crime, like it's a drug, crime o'clock with Melly is your motherfucking plug. Going so hard on criminals, they'll call their mama for a hug. She's finding out all the stuff they try to sweep under the rug. Dark hair shining in the Cali sun. Melly on the case, so no point in trying to run. You Sims can ask for feedbacks, but you getting none. It's crime o'clock with Melly, let's have some fucking fun.